Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'd like to call the City of Homestead presentation ceremony to order. Today is Wednesday, June 26th, 2024, and it is now 5:12 p.m. We're going to deviate a little bit from the agenda, and we'll start with some of the presentations by Councilwoman Bailey.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. So this proclamation is a little bit different. This proclamation is something that we are calling Homestead Haitian Community Engagement Month. And the reason we're calling that is because there were 4 major organizations that helped us host our first annual, as far as the city is concerned, our first annual Haitian Heritage Celebration. So I'm going to read the first part of the proclamation, which appears on each 4 of their proclamations, and then tell you a little bit about these amazing organizations. But if I can please have Bridge Vision and the Haitian Pastors Association representatives come join me. So the 4 organizations are the Haitian Pastors Association, Bridge Vision, ADAP, and 3 Virtues. So we have the first part of the proclamation, which reads, whereas Haitian Heritage Month is a nationally recognized month celebrated in May every year, it is an inspiring time to celebrate and recognize the vibrant culture, beautiful art, delectable cuisine, and the passionate and beautiful people of Haitian origin. The celebration is an expansion of the annual patriotic Haitian Flag Day, which falls every year on May 18th. This day is significant due to the adoption of the flag on May 18th, 1803, symbolizing the pride, resilience, and spirit of the Haitian people in their fight for freedom, reform, and independence. Whereas on May 18th, 2024, the City of Homestead, along with our Haitian community leaders, partners, and organizations, acknowledge the passion and joy of Haitian Heritage Month with the first Haitian Heritage Day celebration. With the collaboration of the 3 Virtues organization, Homestead Haitian Pastors Association, Bridge Vision, and ADAP, we embrace the flag's motto, which I'm not going to try to pronounce, but it means unity makes strength. So each of these organizations played such a vital role in bridging the gap between our Haitian families and Homestead community. And for that reason, we are very happy to, on behalf of our mayor, Stephen Losner, does hereby proclaim June 26, 2024, the month of May, as Haitian Heritage Community Engagement Month. For the pastors, the Haitian Pastors Association, we thank you very much for everything that you do for our community. Although this was the first year that we worked together to put on an event, we know and we have seen all the amazing work that all of your organizations have done. And this proclamation serves as a promise for the city to continue helping you in those efforts. So if you would like to say a few words about your organization.
Thank you, the council members, and for your appreciation. And Commissioner Bailey, your 100% engagement in promoting that culture venues, Haitian community. So we embrace that appreciation. Sure, we're going to be in full collaboration with the city instead, which we're part of and which we're proud of. Thank you for that appreciation, and God bless.
Thank you. Continue the wonderful work. So next we have Bridge Vision.
Good evening. Thank you very much for acknowledging Bridge Vision and partnership with the City of Homestead. We look forward to the work that we can do together to grow this community through our faith-based program, which is Bridge Vision. Thank you so much, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you as well for all of your hard work. And Mr. Alpha Floorman from 3 Virtues, you missed the very beginning, but this is kind of a promise from the city to help you continue all the wonderful work that you are doing for our community. Thank you.
As the logo says, we are Homestead, and this is a symbol that shows that we are part of Homestead, and we will continue to work alongside with the mayor, councilman, city manager, police department, so that we can make this city a great city, so that everybody can feel that they belong. And I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
So everybody has been very well aware of the weather outside. So Dr. Floor from ADAP is not able to be here tonight, so I will graciously accept this on her behalf and tell you a little bit about her organization. We are on a couple boards together. I see all the amazing work that she does in our community, and it goes from everything to helping Haitian families to local parents, children. She volunteers at my preschool to do parent lessons as well as other schools. So just an all-around amazing lady. ADAP, their mission is to build strong communities through youth, parents, seniors' health and wellness, leadership, and cultural programs. And their goal is to provide technical support for existing community organizations, empower them through leadership retreats, and collaborate with sponsored community development programs in both the United States as well as Haiti. So congratulations, Dr. Floor from ADAP, and all of you as well, and we look forward to this being the first of very, very many.
Again, thank you, Councilwoman Bailey, and to all of you who are so deeply ingrained, not just in the Haitian community, but in the Homestead community as well. And it's the many organizations that all come together that make our city what it is. So we have a few more minutes before the notice time for our Community Redevelopment Agency meeting. If in that interim, the next group makes it in, we'll have that presentation. If not, we'll try to stay on schedule and switch over to the CRA meeting and then squeeze them in. He's here, so we're good. Okay. Okay, Councilman Davis, the floor is yours.
He's not in, he's
Coming in, okay, momentarily. Everybody stare at the door.
hi, everybody. For a moment there, I was about to start telling my repertoire of dad jokes or something, but I'm glad we're here. It is absolutely an honor to recognize an organization like Love Has No Limits. Many of you are aware of the Good Neighbor Day of a couple weeks ago, where the community came together, the city workers came together, the non-for-profits, our church organizations, citizenry. We all came together for the purpose of bringing aid, bringing hope to our community members. It was a great day. It was an absolutely outstanding day. So I won't read the entire proclamation, but I'm going to let you know exactly what Love Has No Limits is. They're a nonpartisan collaboration uniting communities to produce sustainable change across America. They empower churches, NGOs, community champions, and influencers alongside thousands of volunteers to provide sustainable solutions to challenges facing our community. They have 4 basic principles that govern their organization, and we should pay attention, I think, because we should try to employ them as well. Love is your only option. We don't have to agree on everything to unite and serve our neighbors. The complex challenges facing our cities are often best impacted through partnership and collaboration. Local community champions are uniquely positioned to sustainably address the issues in their community. And a community can lay aside its differences and unite around the idea that love can change a city. Those of you that know me know what I think about Homestead. This is the best place to live in America right now. This is it. And Love Has No Limits made it even better. And we thank them for it. Our board members, thank you so much. We'll have you come up in just a second. But on behalf of Mayor Losner, please allow me to present this proclamation, because Love Has No Limits has effortlessly brought together city employees, surrounding vendors, tearing up and setting down of the many city events. Love Has No Limit goes above and beyond supporting Homestead, while continuously leaving a lasting model in Homestead for our entire community. This proclamation is therefore given by Stephen Losner, by virtue of his authority by Mayor, that 8 June 2024 as
Do we want to watch it?
it's a fun city.
Oh, we can watch it then. Like we briefly read, we believe that hate doesn't work, has not worked, and will never work. And I think it's time for societies and communities to understand that. And we believe as an organization that love is the only option. Love is the only tool. Love is the only weapon we have. We are committed to South Florida. And I love what is happening here today because it's a snippet of what happens when you put things first in the right order. And when, as an organization, we decided to tackle the South Florida region, the Tri-County area, we decided that from Homestead all the way up to Jupiter, we wanted to create change. And a lot of people asked the question, how are you going to do that? And the answer is pretty simple, is the answer is already on the ground. We just needed to put it together and almost like turn on this grid that is untapped, such as faith communities, cities, nonprofits, and basically all we do is just build bridges, just connect people. And what you guys just saw right there was one of our serve centers, what we decided to call Good Neighbor Days serve centers. We mobilized thousands of volunteers through hundreds of serve centers, and honestly, we believe that this wasn't a sprint to a finish line. This was a sprint to the beginning of what's gonna be a 10, 20-year journey. So we are humbled more than anything to be a part of today with you guys, but more importantly, we are honored to run with you guys and serve in whatever way we can. And I believe that Homestead is an amazing place. I love it. The rain decided to make things a little slower today, and even in the video it's raining, and I think that's awesome, but I think that even screams more to the fact that there's really not much you can do to stop good when good is on its way. So let's keep doing good and let's keep changing the city of Homestead, and we're here for it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Let's have your picture. Yes. And then we'll bring up our board members there also.
Sweet. Where do you want to deal?
Right, how about, right here. That's good. Is that all right? Pastor, would you like to come up with our board members? Please do, come on up. For those of you, I'll tell you, our board is amazing. To see people of faith get together and to come together to do good. And I'll tell you, it's just an amazing moment to see all that happen in the right way. So, Pastor, please thank you to everyone.
I just want to say thank you to Mayor, Vice Mayor, our liaisons, which is Cannibal and Davis, and the rest of the members. Thank you for believing in a committee like the Faith Advisory Board. We are committed to this city, and we are committed to serve the city. And we also want to thank Love Has No Limits.
Janet.
Huh?
Janet.
Oh, Janet, obviously
Please
our
sit.
secretary. Thank you. Thank you to Love Has No Limits, because when they came to South Florida, I immediately said, you guys need to come down to Homestead. Okay? Miami, it's okay, and we had 136 centers, but Homestead has to be the one that you have to come down. And, well, they made it happen, and we just want to say thank you to everyone.
I just want to echo what Chair said, Pastor Benji. Thank you for the opportunity for us to work together and make this city a better place. Thank you.
All right, well, let's get our photo together.
And thank you, committee members, pastors, and council members Davis and Cannibal. What a tremendous event for the first time. First time out of the box is always kind of iffy, and by all accounts, it was a rousing success. So that concludes our presentation ceremony tonight. Again, thank you to all of you who have been, and congratulations to all of you who've been recognized tonight. As always, we appreciate everything you do to help us lead this great community. So we'll adjourn this, and received word that Councilwoman Avila is close at hand, and she has asked that we not adjourn, convene the CRA meeting for a couple of minutes. She'll be here momentarily, Again, thank you all. Stay dry. So, good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'd like to call to order the City of Homestead Community Redevelopment Agency meeting. Today is Wednesday, June 26th, 2024, and it is now 5:42 p.m. Would you please call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Board Member Cannavale. Board Member Avila. Here. Board Member Davis. Here. Board Member Roth. Here. Board Member Bailey. Here. Chairman Losner.
Here. Mr. Director, are there any deletions or deferrals tonight? Thank you. All right, we have before us the meeting minutes of June 11th. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Council Ross, second by Board Member Roth, and second by Board Member Avila. Are there any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. Our next item is car number 4291, an update on the Chrome Marketplace. Mr. Director?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On August 25th, 2023, the Homestead Community Redevelopment Agency issued a public notice soliciting proposals for the acquisition and development of 204, 220, and 230 North Chrome Avenue as a destination food hall, restaurant, and entertainment venue. On October 20th, 2023, Society 8 Hospitality submitted a proposal for the acquisition and development of the property as a food hall, entertainment, and nightlife destination. At the February 21st, 2024 board meeting, the board authorized the executive director to negotiate an agreement for the development of 204 and 220 North Chrome Avenue and bring back the final version prior to execution. At the June 11th CRA board meeting, staff presented a summary of the negotiated agreement that included conservative revenue projections based on the pro forma provided by Society 8. At the conclusion of the presentation, the board directed staff to bring back a deal that was more favorable to the CRA in terms of annual revenues and rate of return on investment. At this time, staff is pending updated financials from Society 8 and working to schedule a negotiation session. The redevelopment of Chrome Avenue as a destination, Chrome Marketplace as a destination food hall, restaurant, and entertainment venue remains a promising strategy for eliminating slum and blight in the CRA, providing annual revenues to the CRA and contributing to the economic health and vitality of downtown Homestead.
Thank you, Mr. Good. Any questions or comments from the board? Yes, Board Member Avila.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to take a moment to thank Zach and staff for doing what they could over the last couple of months to try to negotiate this project with Society 8, and I do thank Society 8 for their interest and for bringing a great product. But as I mentioned in last month's meeting, I'm kind of at a position where I'd like to try to see what else we can bring to the table for the city and for our downtown, especially with our new administration at the helm. So at this time, and I don't know if what would be appropriate would be a motion to cease negotiations and to go back out for discussion, but I'll rest there for a minute and see what you all think about that.
I would be happy to second that motion. So, board members, Board Member Davis.
Yes, sir. I do very much agree that it's probably time for another look. I mean, I very much appreciate all the work that's been done on this thing. I agree with that as well. But I think we need to put a period on it. How far are we going to allow this to play out before we say this is going to work or this is not going to work? And I think perhaps next city council meeting, if we don't have enough information for resolution at that time, perhaps that would be a good point to say this is not working out well for us. Let's look at another option. But that's just my thought. To me, the most important thing at this point is to put a period on it. When is enough time and enough time? And that's the deadline for that to happen.
Thank you, Councilman Davis. Any further comments? Board Member Bailey.
Thank you, Chair. As excited as I am to see something just happen there already, it is a little discouraging that they haven't been into the last two meetings either to say anything about their position or where they are. But I know that we have also had some big changes here in the city. So I am okay with the majority to see what else. You're welcome.
And I would just add, and I agree, I think that and I've used the phrase, cast a wider net, perhaps not limit ourselves to a food hall, leave that on the table. But I think in good faith and fair dealing, and I thought we were clear that that was the message we were sending to Society 8, but to borrow language from our City Hall, old City Hall site discussions, if we don't have their best and final offer for consideration, if we need to have a special call just prior to our next committee of the whole meeting, which is what, a couple weeks, 3 weeks? I'd be happy to second your motion to terminate, or, you know, we can consider what's in front of us and go from there. From my perspective, we are worlds apart in, you know, with all the other intangibles aside and community benefits. Right now, we are worlds apart in relation to our investment in this parcel compared to what I believe the fair return is. So, you know, I think that in all fairness, I don't know that we should pull the rug out from under them tonight, but set that time certain that we're going to pull the trigger one way or the other. I guess it needs to be a CRA meeting that would be noticed for the next date of our committee of the whole meeting. So, July 9th? Okay, that's soon. Okay.
Yeah, and with the holiday in there, I'm wondering if you would consider extending that to prior to the next council meeting, which is
Like the 17th?
the 17th.
That's fine. I'm okay with that. Will you be able to call in? Okay. Well, you're right. You know, the 9th is close at hand, and we do have a holiday. So, again, back in fairness, I want to have clean hands from this side of the table. Let's give them clear notice for the 17th. So is that the direction of this board? Yeah. All right.
Understood.
I think that concludes this matter as to the Chrome Marketplace. Next item is the shotgun property. Mr. Good, what report do you have for us?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At the May 1st, 2024 Community Redevelopment Agency Board meeting, the board instructed staff to release a notice of intent to dispose of the CRA-owned property located at 866 Southwest 7th Street, commonly known as the Shotgun Property. A workshop was hosted on May 22nd for the CRA board to provide direction as to its vision for the property. At the meeting, the board directed staff to host a developer forum to gauge interest in various concepts for the site. On Thursday, June 6th, the CRA hosted the Shotgun Property Developer Forum, which presented a trade area economic analysis for the site and various site concepts, including a townhouse village, mixed-use village, and traditional multifamily. The forum presentation and site fitment and feasibility analysis are attached to the agenda item report for further details. During the forum, staff received feedback from community members that were in favor of a senior housing component and the mixed-use village concepts. Some of the developers present expressed concern about the feasibility of an anchor-type retail tenant in the mixed-use concept, indicated a preference for affordable housing components, and a desire for increased density of 65 units per acre on the site to make the project more economically feasible. Since the developer forum, the city manager's office has been working with the Builders Association of South Florida and other groups to host an additional forum to market various opportunities within the city of Homestead. It is staff's recommendation that the shotgun property be presented to this additional audience in order to give feedback for the CRA board's consideration prior to finalizing a notice of intent for disposal of the property.
Okay. Thank you. So I know you have several alternatives in our package. Are you asking us tonight to give you some direction on picking one, or are these kind of a broad parameter that will be presented to the development community at the next gathering?
So these are just for informational purposes. This is what was presented at the previous forum and will be presented at the next forum for feedback from the developer market of what they see as feasible. Obviously, the final decision as to vision for the site is the CRA board. If you do have feedback tonight as to any of these that is definitely off the table, we would be happy to remove those from the presentation.
Well, with all due respect to my friends at the Builders Association, I recognize it's their job to push for more and more density, and I do not support anywhere near 55 units. 65 units to the acre. Yeah, despite our best efforts, that would open the door to some major RTZ and live local issues. So I think that we need to rebuff that. Memory check me, if you will. The Centennial proposal was for a total of about 78 units.
Yes, that's correct. I believe that brought us to somewhere in the neighborhood of, I think, 25 or 30 units to the acre. Yeah.
Right. And I know one of your proposals in here shows a townhouse project of, I think, 52 units with a modest commercial proposal. Certainly, and it shouldn't come as any surprise to anybody, my preference of a favorable proposal would be on the lower end. And I want to reiterate, you know, things have changed dramatically since we last obligated, if you will, this property. I'll be looking for a senior housing component in the Triangle parcel. I think given its proximity to public transportation and our downtown, that's more appropriately located there. So for myself, I'm not married to a senior housing component there. And again, to reiterate, I think I recall that at the meeting, there was information that, you know, was inadvertently not shared, that there is an ownership project in the pipeline to the west of this parcel, as well as a mixed use to the south in Florida City. You know, to the extent that would change the perspective of those who might want to come in and develop this parcel.
Yes, you're correct. The next presentation will include the updated information on those developments in the pipeline.
But I do want to, you know, commend the agency and this presentation. This is far and above any of the presentations we've ever seen in the past for this parcel and the Triangle parcel that have been generated by staff. So I want to thank the manager and everyone involved that, you know, you're really giving us meat and potatoes here, narrowing it down, being very, you know, definite with those who want to do business with the city. So I'll ask my famous question. What are you looking for from us tonight?
Tonight, this is just an informational
Just informational.
item.
Appreciate it. Board members, any further questions, comments? Yes. Board Member
Thank you.
Bailey?
Just to echo real quick also, I'm so excited to just see all the work put into the forum and really look forward to the next one. What is the current density right now that's allowed?
Matt, did we already do the rezoning for the Centennial project, or was that planned in the pipeline?
I don't think
Okay. Yeah, so what I'm hearing from city attorney is that we did not complete that rezoning, so it would be the base zoning for that area, which is, I believe, 15 units to the acre.
So how would that come into play for this second forum? Would the ideas be based solely on that, or people would still be able to throw ideas out and say, if 30 were allowed, this could happen?
Yeah.
Different scenarios could be proposed.
Exactly. Different
Okay.
scenarios could be proposed. This is a CRA-controlled site. You know, the
No,
city
I agree.
city is well within its rights to
Something-
design
I
a
think
zoning code for
something
that
akin to
area.
what we did with the Triangle. Bring us something that knocks our socks off. It's got that wow factor, and we'll consider it.
Definitely, not 55 or 65, but you want to go over 15, then impress us. Thank you.
All right. Any further board members? Thank you, Mr. Good. Does that conclude your items tonight for the agency?
Yes, sir, it does.
So, Mr. Mayor, the workshop with the Builders Association It's going to be on the July 11th, and it's being noticed as a sunshine meeting, in case any of you is interested in joining.
July 11th, with the development community who may have an interest in this parcel. Very good. Okay. No, I don't think it's been calendared. I don't think it's been noticed yet. No. Okay. All right. Any public comments with respect to Community Redevelopment Agency matters? Hearing or seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn the CRA meeting. Moved by Board Member Bailey, seconded by Board Member Cannonball. All in favor? And we'll give the clerk a couple of minutes to retool. And that's 6 minutes. We can't adjourn. We can't. 2 minutes. Okay. 2 minutes, more or less. So if anyone needs a break, now's the time to take it. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'd like to call the City Council meeting for the City of Homestead, Florida to order. Today is Wednesday, June 26, 2024, and it is now 6:02 p.m. I'd invite you to please rise while we have the invocation given by Dr. Floor from ADAP. Dr. Floor.
Okay. Please bow your head. Heavenly Father, we ask for you to put upon each and every one present in this room your grace, your mercy. Continue to show us the principle of leadership, wisdom, and grace. In your name, we pray, and mainly for the city of Homestead, the leaders and all the constituents. Let the room and the people say, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Doctor. Please face the flag and join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. All right, we have a roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Cannonball. Here. Councilman Roth.
Here.
Councilman Davis.
Here.
Councilwoman Avila.
Here.
Councilwoman Bailey.
Here.
Vice Mayor Fletcher.
Here.
Mayor Losner.
Here. All right. Thank you. We'll now have some time for public comments. Now, if you're here on a specific agenda item, this is not the time to speak. This is just a general comment. We're going to limit your speaking time to 2 minutes tonight. I don't have any indication that anyone has pre-registered. Is there anyone online wishing to speak? General comments. Do we have anyone in the audience who would like to make a general comment that is not with respect to an agenda item? All right, very good. I will close the public comment section of the agenda. Madam Clerk, Mr. Manager, are there any additions, deletions, or deferrals?
No.
All right, so Mr. Manager, if you would, to kick this off, if you would introduce our new staff members present tonight.
Yes, sir. It's my privilege to introduce the new Director of Public Works for the City of Homestead, Mr. Cairo Kengas. Mr. Kengas is a Florida licensed professional engineer. Previously, the Public Works Director for Village of Key Biscayne, from where he's joining us, I think he started 2 days ago. Welcome, Cairo. And also the new Director of Code Compliance, Mr. Adrian Carrillo.
You don't know how welcome you are.
So, Mr. Carrillo is a Florida bar licensed attorney, a Miami native, and incidentally, a resident of the City of Homestead. So he's got his job cut out for him, 24/7, code compliance. He gets it, and he has promised to deliver. Thank you, Mr. Carrillo. And also, the last but not the least, the Assistant Director for Public Works Engineering and Construction Services, Mina Semadi. Mina is also a Florida licensed professional engineer. She comes to us from the city of Miami Beach, where she's been a senior project manager for several years with over 30 years of cognitive experience. Welcome on board, Mina. That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. I wanted to move that to the head of the agenda. I didn't want all of these development attorneys and our normal in-house spectators sitting here all night wondering, who are these people? Where are they from? Inside joke with our code enforcement director. He's going to be our pit bull. Okay. We do have some addendums to the agenda tonight, Mr. Manager. If you'll take those first three add-on items.
There are 3 addendums tonight. Unfortunately, late last week, I believe during the closing hours of Thursday work hours, we experienced a complete shutdown of the air conditioning system in the City Hall. And we had to make immediate, urgent emergency arrangements for us to mitigate the impact on delivery of municipal services. So the first addendum item is to accept what actions we've taken, which is a retroactive approval for the emergency procurement of a temporary chiller in order to restore services. I must emphasize, during the period of the shutdown of the AC, we made urgent emergency arrangements to continue to deliver municipal services uninterrupted by making certain arrangements, which inclusive of having services delivered by virtual access to our residents and businesses, as well as braving it. Some of us stayed in this building all through that to demonstrate fidelity to the calling for which you've sworn to be public air servants. I must applaud and salute staff that braved it all under such inclement conditions, but they were able to deliver services from various city locations. So this item is for a fiscal impact of $148,000, and is in terms of the $76,000 is for the rental and installation of the temporary chiller here at City Hall. And the secondary component is for $72,000 for the replacement of the damaged coils. What happened is that this building is serviced by 2 chiller systems. The first one is the one that completely shut down. The second chiller apparently had a damaged chiller for several months. So I made an executive decision to fix all of them at the same time instead of taking another challenge of trying to wing it. So I'm asking council and the mayor to retroactively approve the PO that we've issued already for a total of $148,000 in order to effectuate what has been procured. The coil is going to be coming in within 5 to 7 days to bring chiller number 2 back on stream, while the chiller number 1 has been replaced with a temporary chiller rental. I'm available to take any questions, sir.
The first 2 were emergency purposes. What about addendum 3?
So the second addendum, I thought we were going to take them individually.
Well, let's present them all, and then I guess we'll vote separately.
The second addendum is for the procurement of a brand new chiller that will replace chiller number 1 that is completely damaged. It's for $263,000. We are hoping to receive the chiller no later than September 20th, which is in 3 months' time, while we utilize the rental as well as the repaired and restored chiller 2. So we'll continue to have uninterrupted services here. So the second item will get us a brand new chiller, and we get back to how we were when this building was newly opened back in 2016. The third addendum is addendum number 3, out of an abundance of caution, we had to introduce addendum number 3. The city-owned and operated facility, Seminole Theater, has the air conditioning system that has been operating in fits and starts. So what we intend to do here is to ensure that the complete maintenance refurbishment of the AC chiller system at the Seminole Theater is taken care of at this time in order to assure continuity of operations. So the contingency amount is for this procurement is for $60,000, and we hope to get it done during this period within 90 days. So by September, all critical city infrastructure in terms of the air conditioning systems will be in place, functioning, and in optimum operating condition. So I'm asking for council to approve all 3 addendum items.
Good, thank you. Any questions or comments from council on these addendums? So we'll have a motion to approve.
I think the city attorney wants to make a comment.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, if I could just read them into the record individually. Addendum 1 was a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, recognizing an emergency condition in accordance with Section 2-413 of the City Code, authorizing the emergency purchase of components of the City Hall air conditioning system, ratifying the emergency rental of air conditioning equipment necessary for the operation of the City Hall air conditioning system, providing for implementation and providing for an effective date. That's the first item.
Yes.
Councilman Cannonball, any questions or comments? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Addendum 2.
Addendum 2 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving the purchase of a new chiller for the City Hall air conditioning system, providing for an exemption from competitive bidding, providing for implementation, and providing for an effective date.
Do we have a motion on addendum 2? Moved by Councilman Avila, second by Councilman Cannonball. What comment? All in favor? Any opposed? And finally, you don't have a resolution.
There is no resolution. This
We
is
just need to add it to the agenda.
because there was a solicitation that was issued. This is just a motion to award that portion of the bid for the air conditioning components for Seminole Theater.
Yeah, all right, moved by Councilman Bailey, second by Councilman Cannonball. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, very good. Now, we have before us some presentations tonight. Tab 1 is car number 4292, the Black Business Month presentation by South Dade Connections. Mr. Manager, do you have a report before the presentation?
Let him go at it first.
Okay. Good evening, welcome. And for the record, give us your name and address.
Cardell Hayes, 3910 Northeast 13th Drive, Homestead. Greetings, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. Thank you for having me this evening. Rainy evening at that. There's something special that is going on here in far South Dade. It deals with economics. It deals with the community. It deals with everyone here in the surrounding area, but the catalyst is right here in Homestead. So this could be the first ever Black Business Month and having it official with the City of Homestead. And let me take a step back. We've held this event last year, and it was a success. I'll give you the backstory on this. Go forward here. And just a quick note, Black Business Month was started in 2004. It was founded by 2 gentlemen that decided that the month of August should be Black Business Month because that's the birth month of Frederick Douglass. As we all know, he was a leader when it comes to Black business. So let me put that little tidbit there. But more importantly, what our organization has done over the past 3 years, each and every year, we host a small business cohort. And what that means is we're offering training, finance, legal, all of the different items that are needed for business sustainability. We have a 3-week program, very intensive, pre-assessment. Each and every year, we probably have close to 100 people that enroll for this program. But unfortunately, we can only accept a certain amount of people. Same thing has happened this year. So we have about 50 or so at this point. That's probably going to elevate over the next week, but only 30 of the small businesses are going to be eligible and be enrolled in this training. So what we're talking about here is the summary of that small business program, what it means, because that program is at the latter part of the month of July, leading into the month of August. The month of August, as we just mentioned, is Black Business Month. These are some of the details in regards to that small business training. And as you can see to the bottom right-hand side, those are some of the courses. And many of these businesses are here in the city of Homestead. And here are a few numbers. All right, so here in the South Dade community, majority of the small businesses are female-run businesses, profit and nonprofit, 80%. Along with that, many of the businesses that are here in Homestead, and we're talking about small businesses and mostly Black-owned, we're looking at a good 30% of our population that is here in the city of Homestead, and that's growing. That growth has increased over the past year by 10%. It means a lot for us to be in this space to support our small businesses. Having trainings like this, we always say, you know, teach a man, teach a woman how to fish, and then you have sustainability for life, and that's what we're doing. With that, we want to celebrate it. We're looking for August 9th to be something special. This is where, right here in downtown Homestead, all of the movement, the construction, the development, empowerment, we want to host this event right across the street. We want to highlight the specialty of the venue, of the population, of our coming together, the community, and show all of South Dade that the growth when it comes to businesses, particularly Black businesses, that we all have a hand in this. And this is part of the economic empowerment of the entire community. So our team is already in the work of this. I mean, there's so much going on. We actually have to have topography of the event space to make sure that once we start registering people, and we have not started, we want to make sure that all of Homestead is first to be part of this. That includes everyone here on the council, everyone else that is here in the chamber. South Dade Chamber of Commerce, EDC, they're already on board. We have a few sponsors, but the bigger catalyst of this is the city of Homestead. So that's what we're pushing here. This is let me call it a draft of the agenda for that evening. You know, people don't know that fourth floor space has a rooftop, right? We're going to use that space. We're going to make sure everyone has a good time. We're going to have the vendors, caterers, and anything else that you can think of, you know, to make sure when our community comes out, participate, to be a part of, and to celebrate that it's something that's memorable. And listen, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that the CRA is a part of this too. No, I didn't call you yet, Leslie, but you'll get that call soon. So just wrapping up on this, because I don't want to go through, oh, Zero, you did see your name, right? Because it means something for all of South Dade to see the first Black city manager here in the city of Homestead and to do a welcoming for the city of Homestead. So yes, the idea is to highlight that. That's what Black businesses is all about, making sure that businesses are being seen. So yes, there's no question. So there's already, and I'll be honest, I'm so happy, I'm excited. There's already a few people part of the city of Homestead that's helping out with this effort. And I'm so grateful. So that movement is real. Every time I look at this, I mean, I'm just proud of it because it took some time to put this together, and it started last year. Last year, Councilwoman Farrah Claw was there to represent, along with Councilwoman Bailey, Roth, Avila, you had visibility, of course. And last year, we presented probably close to about 40 small businesses with certificates. This was part of the graduation ceremony. They received a certificate. Along with that, I don't think any of our small businesses are here today, they also received a small grant. We do have a grant implementation that's set up to accommodate what we want to call, hey, here's the springboard. And that is after they've been taught, you know, some of these basic or actually intense business courses that we're going to be having over the 3-week time frame in the month of July. So the outcome of this, although we continue to say blight business, is the bridging of all of our communities, because we want the participation of everyone. It's only 180 seats. It's going to be something to manage that process. So I will be asking the City of Homestead to participate heavily to make sure that we are seen, because we will have our cohorts and their family members. So that's majority of the seating there alone. And then, of course, the other organizations such as the Economic Development Council of South Dade Chamber, and maybe even invite Cutler Bay, but definitely Florida City and the surrounding areas that participate in what we know as growing this community. So as you can see at the bottom of this, Homestead has led the way when it comes to the MLK breakfast. And I have to say, I can't help but smile because we were an honoree. So thank you to the council for that. And that led into most recently Juneteenth. And I cannot say how proud I am, because as I know it, Homestead is the only municipality in South Dade that presented that event for Juneteenth. And getting the greater good of it is the history. You did a great job, Leslie. So we should continue this. We should continue moving forward on what is necessary for our community, for everybody. And this is our opportunity to continue that here. This is a template of what is to come. This has not been pushed out to the public yet. No pictures anyway. So more importantly is once we do, you know, we really want to ramp up and make sure that we have all of our I's dotted, T's crossed. We really want it to be special. I want to make sure nothing is missed when it comes to our municipality here. And then, of course, to the small businesses that are going to be receiving their gifts. And then also, we have to give a few awards to some honorees of the community, but that's yet to be announced. So with that, I'm going to take that pause just in case there's any questions. And of course, I think Councilman Fletcher, if he's on, I know we have a call lined up to talk more about this.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'm sorry, I thought I was going to introduce it, but yes, I did want to introduce and say that that Mr. Hayes, through his leadership with South Dade Connections, was our MLK Breakfast honoree, and it was just a short year that we had seen what they were doing in the community, and just the way that a lot of their programs were aligning with the CRA. I think at least my goal with anything city related is to help organizations grow and start doing these things on their own to help the community. So I do see a great partnership and a lot of opportunity. I explained already, this is the end of our budget cycle, so dollar-wise, we're all very, very short. But I just wanted to make sure that you were able to present this and for us to help you in any other way possible, and definitely to have those conversations to make sure that this is the first of many.
Let's do it.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Appreciate your commitment and your hard work.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. All right. Next up, we have a presentation by the Miami-Dade Public Schools Community Resources. Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. My name is Ailette Rodriguez Diaz, and I'm the Administrative Director with the Office of Intergovernmental Affairs and Family and Community Engagement. Our offices are located at 1450 Northeast 2nd Avenue. My suite is 776, Miami, Florida 33132. Thank you for giving us some time here on the agenda. I'm here on behalf of our Chief of Intergovernmental Affairs, Ms. Tabitha Fazzino, and I'm here with one of my colleagues, Ms. Crystal Gooding. She is the Director of Community Development and Public Outreach. She's a local here to Homestead. We're here this evening just simply to thank the city for being a strong partner to Miami-Dade County Public Schools and in support of our schools and our students. Each of you have a packet, and within this packet, you have some information regarding the schools in Homestead. You'll find information regarding your school's enrollment, as well as historical performance grades dated back from 1999 till the present time. Currently, the state has not yet awarded school grades for 23-24, but as soon as they do, we'll make sure to hand that over to the council. And you'll also have information regarding graduation rates, and you'll see that Homestead Senior High School has demonstrated a steady rise with graduation rates of 99.4%. Inside your packet, you will also see a long map. Councilwoman Avila, I owe you a map. You will have that by tomorrow. Inside your packet, you'll see a long map. And although there are several Miami-Dade County Public Schools inside of your jurisdiction, you currently have 15,062 students who reside here, they're school age, and they attend about 240 different schools within the county. And you'll be able to see on the map the different names of the schools and how many Homestead resident children attend those different schools. And we're thrilled to have them participate in different choice options, magnet programs, and take advantage of all the programming that Miami-Dade County Public Schools has to offer. In addition, you'll have information regarding a number of our programs, including volunteer, mentoring, internship, Alumni 305, which are great ways to involve the community and our families with our schools. We know that Homestead is blossoming with new businesses, and that's wonderful to see. So we would like to engage with the city in assisting us in reaching out to some of those businesses to become internship providers. And with becoming internship providers for students during the academic school year, these are for businesses who are looking to add a dynamic addition to their team. They can become an internship provider. They'll have the opportunity to interview the students before adding them to the team. So if you'd like more information, you'll have that in your folder as well. In addition to that, we have Parent Academy, the re-envisioning of Parent Academy. This is a slew of webinars for parents to be able to engage with the school system, learn different ways how to work with schools. There's different topics on the Parent Academies, including how to transition to kindergarten, transitioning to middle school, transitioning to high school, working with children with autism, as well as many different helpful topics, including how to navigate the parent portal if you want access to your child's grades, if you want access to their textbooks as well. So these webinars are available for all of our families in English, Spanish, and Haitian Creole. They take place on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. And as for the post-secondary and career and technical, there are 7 post-secondary and career technical education colleges. The closest one right here is South Dade Technical College and Robert Morgan. There is financial aid for students who qualify. You'll be able to find their brochure with information on programs such as cosmetology, manufacturing, automotive, child care, medical assistance, phlebotomy, construction, and many other more programs. So innovative initiatives such as these really reinforce why Miami-Dade County Public Schools is your best choice for education. Once again, thank you. Thank you for giving us some time to speak to you today, and thank you for the partnership.
Thank you, appreciate it. You know, as we move forward to presumably adopt a residential building moratorium this evening, this school information is very vital and very timely. Obviously, we got your package a few moments ago. I didn't see it in here. If it's not in here, can we get some capacity numbers as to where we are for our feeder pattern schools? That's going to be a vital piece of information that we'll need to have.
Most definitely.
Going forward as we plan our development future, so we'd appreciate that.
Very well.
And thank you. And
thank you.
This is very comprehensive. In my memory, we've never had anything presented like this that gives us these numbers, not only school by school, but by grade. Very enlightening. So
thank you.
Thank you. Council?
One question.
Yes, Councilman Roth.
Thank you for your presentation. It is kind of really cool to see. The numbers are astonishing to me as far as the numbers of children that are in public schools. But my only question would be, and maybe you don't know the answer, maybe you can find out for us, is, and maybe staff can help with that too, because we've talked about this before, is the creation of new school locations, especially high school locations. When you look at the number of students that are in the middle and elementary schools coming out, and we really only have 2 public high schools, maybe 3 public high schools that service our area. I think 2 are within the city, one's outside the city limits, South Dade Senior High. It just, with capacity of 3,200 at South Dade Senior and capacity at 2,268.
Well, that's enrollment, I think.
Those are the kids that are there. We don't know what the capacity is, which he was just asking about. But any plans of bringing additional high school locations and any other middle school or elementary schools to our area? That would be what my question would be. So if you don't know that answer, then surely you can get it to us eventually.
I will most definitely get you an answer to that. I'll work with our facilities and our design and planning office, and I'll get that information to you.
Good thing. And final question from Councilwoman Avila.
Thank you, Mayor. Under your directory for post-secondary education, I'm noticing that many of the educational centers have a fast track to citizenship under the USCIS grant. However, for Robert Morgan and for South Dade Tech, that's not available there. So maybe you don't have the answer now, but if you can come back to us and let us know what would need to happen in order to be able to offer those programs down here in South Dade, I think that's quite important. Thank you.
I will relay the message. We have our Assistant Superintendent, Mr. Rene Mantilla, over the post-secondary and career and technical, and I'll make sure to mention that to him.
Thank you. Before you go, Mr. Manager, do you have anything further on this presentation?
Yes, actually, we hope to reach out to you guys in terms of coordinating the infrastructure expansion of existing schools that we talked about last time as a follow-up. In terms of folks making payments when they come in for development permits for school expansion. The city of Homestead has not seen much of infrastructure expansion in the city that is consistent with kind of money developers are paying in. So that's a conversation we need to have. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Bailey.
Thank you. Real quick, and again, this might not be something specifically that you're aware of, but I would assume that it happens in other areas as well. I know that some of our gated communities, the children are distanced from the bus stop with a fence or a gate in the way. So I am just putting it out there that those are things that at least maybe during the questionnaires on the bus routes and distances, that they are able to say that it is 1.5 miles to walk around that gate to get to that bus stop, that they might be able to see right across the fence, which is the case with my specific neighbor. So I know that it's happening. Just something to please put out there and say. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Thank you. And thank you for coming down. Put your pontoons on and...
Thank you very much.
And finally, a very special presentation tonight regarding the police department's newly enhanced mobile incident command vehicle. Come on down.
Good evening, Mayor Losner, Honorable Homestead City Council members. My name is Josh Klott. Early last year, the City Council and City Management authorized Chief Roll and the Police Department to undertake a major renovation on a very important piece of Homestead equipment, our HPD Incident Command Vehicle. I was picked to lead this assignment and also to present a final report to Council on this important HPD procurement tonight. We certainly appreciate the funding that you approved for completion of this project. We've worked diligently to use these funds efficiently for this much-needed renovation. I have a quick PowerPoint presentation here, just kind of guide me through some of the stuff and then try and give maybe a little bit of a history and then the benefits that we've seen from the command post over the last 15 years that we've had it. A little background, since Andrew struck our community in 1992, we've strived to be ready for disasters here in the city that directly affect us, and we've used the lessons learned to be ready to repay the other communities who came and saved us during Hurricane Andrew from around the country, some from around the world. And initially in the mid-90s, we had just bought a civilian-type motorhome that we used for several years and actually used that at Hurricane Charlie in Punta Gorda and found that, we wanted more. In 2006, led by the chief and with the approval of the Homestead City Council and city officials, we began researching and developing to procure a mission-capable vehicle. We got that vehicle in March of 2008. You'll see on display here today as a result of those efforts. And we planned that for about 2 years to make a custom vehicle that we designed with our team in-house. And for 15 years, this vehicle has been used at disaster scenes, large-scale crime scenes, and major special events locally and around the state. The truck is outside, and I'll be glad to show you guys at the end of the meeting, or if you have time around the truck to show the stuff, but I'd like to discuss some of the stuff that we've done with it. Local disasters, most recently the Surfside building collapse, which by many accounts was the largest homicide investigation in the history of the United States, not counting the terrorist attack and 9/11. And the Miami-Dade Police Department Homicide Bureau used our truck and was very thankful. It was there for 35 days and ran flawlessly for them to do sensitive things that you don't think about, like meet with the families that they were, found their remains and work the whole crime scene. And it was just a very, very large-scale incident. And having a private space that was well equipped with all the internet access and things that they needed to conduct that meant very, very much to the community and Surfside and help them. They're always willing to repay us because of the way that we help them. Also, major special events. As you know, we have NASCAR here. We had the championships for 18 years. Space is very limited out there. We run an extensive command and control operation for that, and the truck is used to manage that event, manage the tens of thousands of visitors that are at the racetrack, and then other special events around our community that we've been asked. And there's a reason that we're asked is because this vehicle you have funded is so mission capable. We've been asked and been at Super Bowls, F1 events, the 2012 presidential debate in Boca Raton, many events like that where they requested to be used for law enforcement and command and control purposes. And then most recently, statewide disasters, Hurricane Ian over in Punta Gorda. I believe Punta Gorda made a presentation over here. We used the truck to go over there and help them get their community back together and recover after Hurricane Ian. Then before that, Hurricane Irma, our friends in Monroe County, mile marker 55. We were at the Marathon station there. They were having a tough time down there with communications and getting meals to their officers and things like that. And because you guys authorized us to go down there and help them, we made a real difference there. So the real benefits of this truck are to help our citizens, obviously, and to help our community, at any times of need. And to have it has been something very special for us at the police department. To quickly talk about the vehicle upgrades, just kind of in layman's terms, all the cameras have been made new, all the displays, TVs have been replaced. It's the ultimate mobile office. HPD headquarters and really city headquarters can be anywhere because it's connected on high-speed internet connections wherever it goes. It's got radios in it that work everywhere with everyone. The radios that we had when we got the truck in 2007 were the older type. Now we have radios that are interoperable with every possible agency you can imagine, including the fire department and others. We can make power anywhere, and we can take power from anywhere. What that means is we bring our own power. When we go to these disasters, for example, when we were in Punta Gorda, the generator systems that we brought powered entire bathroom infrastructures for emergency workers that they didn't have the ability to energize, and we did that for them. We're able to connect it to any kind of building, no matter what the power. In layman's terms, there's different kinds of power connections. Whatever it is, it can work anywhere. And of course, we've refurbished all the truck systems and or repaired or replaced what needed to be replaced, and we brought the truck up to standards. You know, when you see it, it just basically looks brand new. And the reason that it does is because of the maintenance that you guys have allowed us over the years to take care of it. To conclude, I'd like to thank the chief, the colonel, our command staff, IT department, budget and logistics manager Debbie Moore, Captain Scott Bell, reserve officer, for their input and help on coordinating the project. I would also like to thank, obviously, the city council, city manager's office, procurement, our motor pool partners, finance department for all the assistance in completing this work. And lastly, I'd like to give special thanks to Sergeant Victor Agosto, who manages the truck for us on a day-to-day basis. And he does an outstanding job. And if it wasn't for his patience and assistance, I don't know that we would have brought this through to the successful conclusion that we brought it to. So thank you very much. And if you have any questions, and the truck's outside, if after the meeting you'd like to take a look at it.
Very good. Council, any questions, comments? Looking good.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
Before you leave, you shared a story with us at one time. I think it may have been the Punta Gorda story, where I think we arrived and they had no communications with their officers. And immediately when you guys arrived, you were able to patch into all their systems.
Well, yeah, the key to being able to help somebody when you go there is what we found in Andrew. People came here and helped us and said, hey, can I borrow your police radio? Hey, where do I get gas? Hey, I need ice. Where am I sleeping? And the key is to go help somebody, you have to have all that stuff. So when we got there, our radios were already working on their channels. So, you know, once you get there as a policeman and you've got a radio, well, now you can go out and patrol an area, meaning check a trailer park for victims or things like that, and immediately assist, because now you're ready to go because you can talk to their dispatch, as well as you're not any burden on them. In fact, we're feeding 100 people twice a day, every 12 hours. We're not taking any food from them. When we got to Irma in Monroe County, they were eating 20-year-old meals ready to eat. And so those kind of things really boost, you know, a community when you come in. And it's the city's Air Force One, City of Homestead's Air Force One, to go in and say, like, okay, you know, when they see that coming and we're there to help them, they know that we're going to bring whatever assistance that we can without being a burden on them, while also having the redundancy in our city to back up City Hall, our police department. If our dispatcher center went out, we could use that truck to back it up. If systems here went out, we could use it to back up the data. So it becomes a redundant system for everybody, but yes, not to be a burden on the communities that we come to assist, including our own.
Yeah, that's great. And, you know, it makes me proud that Homestead is able to represent itself, its police department, the leaders up here around the state, and if needed around the country, if we're called to do that. And it's just a reflection of the leadership that the police department's had over the years, and what the city council did back in, I think it was 2005,
right,
when they allowed this to happen. And I'm proud to continue that legacy on, and that we will be able to help others in the future when it comes to natural disasters and other things that happen in our state. And
well, thank you.
So,
On behalf of the chief, we appreciate the support. And I can tell you, all these missions that we go on, we're asked to go first by state emergency management. We're given numbers to go. I mean, typically, you know, financial and all the logistics arrangements are in place, and we're requested to these things. But around the community, we get asked. We get asked because that piece of equipment is certainly valuable to all of our law enforcement partners around here. But thank you very much for your support, the city's support, Mr. Manager, and the city council, because it means a lot. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, and thank you to the department for bringing it out. And after next week, Mr. Manager, it just only needs one more small piece of equipment, our 250 logo. Maybe that'll be the first city vehicle that gets it. Two more trucks? Because you weren't here to know the cost of that renovation, that's why. Okay, let's go in. We have the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. Moved by Councilwoman Bailey, second by Councilwoman Avila. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, if there are no objections before we get into the quasi-judicial agenda, I'd like to go ahead and bring forward Councilman Cannabal's resolution that he has under his business. I believe there are folks in the audience who probably want to speak to that, and we don't want to hold them up here through all of our land use items. So, Councilman, is this your presentation? Is staff going to the resolution? What's that? No, you do it. Turn on your mic and do it from your seat. Or do we have a staff report?
Yeah, I can read the title of the resolution if you'd
Sure.
like. Tab 25 was a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, expressing the City Council's opposition to Florida Amendment 4 ballot language concerning the right to abortion initiative and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Councilman? And for those who want to speak on this matter, we're going to have a 2-minute limit.
Yeah. Well, this is very easy. This is nothing complicated. This is opposing the language used by the Supreme Court about the abortion that's going to be in the ballot this November, I think. So actually, what we're saying is that we're opposing that kind of language. That language is very ambiguous and doesn't provide any specifics. So this complicated matter, okay, is going to get more complicated. That's what I'm saying. So somebody else wants to talk about it?
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience who would wish to speak on this item? Come on down and give us your name and address for the record, and we'll give you a couple of minutes to express your thoughts on this item. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. We're just here to express, we're pro-life and we believe in, the human rights and other, like the animal kingdom has rights. We protect them. So we should protect our newborns. We're the voice, the only voice they have. It's us that been through difficult times in life. We know the consequences of somebody, just not letting somebody be born into this world and have their chance, the opportunities. So I'm just here on behalf of the faith community. My name is Nabor Jaramillo, and represent some of the local pastors, and we're really concerned about the laws. We want to keep it like pro-life, for the best of us. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Pastor Benjamin Perez from Purpose Church here in Homestead, Florida. I just want to say, first of all, thank you to Councilman Canaba. Even though this amendment, I will have to say that it's not something that locally we could do something about it. It's more of a state. However, I do thank the courage that you have in bringing this up. And obviously, as a faith community, we are here pro-life, and I do represent the churches here in Homestead. And I will hope that everyone is in favor of what Councilman Canaba has brought up to present. Thank you all.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you. Anyone else? Is there anyone online? Council, any questions, comments? Councilman Davis.
Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you to my colleague for sponsoring this item. I think it's important to note that the item that we're going to vote on is not going to change. I mean, the wording is the wording on the November election. But what we're saying here today is that wording we feel is unacceptable because it is way too broad, and then will bring additional unforeseen consequences to this entire issue. It was not well thought out. And for me, I support this motion that we have today on that grounds. It's not going to change the ballot, but we're making clear that this type of wording that's going before the electorate for the Constitution is way too broad. It's way too broad and leaves out room for legislation to make appropriate decisions that our state electorate should be able to do. I support it. I would ask even to be a co-sponsor at this point because I think it's an important thing to do. I know some have said, what difference does it make because it ain't going to change what's on the ballot. But it's always important in our democracy to say what you're going to say and let yourself be known. I think that's an important part of what we're doing here today. Thank you, Mayor.
And to make a standing that
Thank you,
we don't
Councilman.
support that kind of language.
Thank you. Councilwoman Avila.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilman Cannavale, for bringing this resolution for us to vote on today. I will be supporting the item. I agree that it's important to not remain silent when you have a position. So, thank you.
Councilwoman Bailey.
Thank you. On the same note, ballots are always worded ridiculously, for lack of a better word, without giving any specifics on how the language should change. The only reason I wouldn't support it, and I completely understand who has spoken so far, your stance on it, but seeing that the majority are men making decisions for women, unless we get more specific on what that wording should be, having the government not interfere in women's business, I just have to say, until I hear better wording, I don't agree. Thank you.
Thank you. Got nothing. All right, well, thank you. Councilman Cannavale, would you like to offer a motion for the adoption of this resolution? All right, moved by Councilman Cannavale.
Second.
Second by Councilman Davis. Final opportunity for the public to be heard. Close the public hearing and ask for a roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Roth? Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Councilman Cannavale?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bailey? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. Appreciate the deviation in the agenda. All right, that moves us to our favorite part of the night, the quasi-judicial items. Mr. White.
Please be advised the following items on the agenda are quasi-judicial in nature. If you wish to comment upon any of these items, please indicate the item number you would like to address when the announcement regarding the quasi-judicial item is made. An opportunity for persons to speak on each item will be made available after the applicant and staff have made their presentations on each item. Swearing in, all testimony, including public testimony and evidence, will be made under oath or affirmation. Additionally, each person who gives testimony may be subject to cross-examination. If you do not wish to either be cross-examined or sworn, your testimony will be given its due weight. The general public will not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses, but the public may request the council to ask questions of staff or witnesses on their behalf. The full agenda packet on each item is hereby entered into the record. Persons representing organizations must present evidence of their authority to speak for the organization. Further details of the quasi-judicial procedures may be obtained from the clerk. In accordance with Code Section 2-590, any lobbyist must register before addressing the council on any of the following items. At this time, I'd ask council members to disclose any ex parte communications concerning any items on the quasi-judicial agenda this evening.
Any disclosures? Councilman Davis?
I'm sorry, no.
Okay. Councilman Cannonball? No. All right. As for myself, and some of these have been previously disclosed, I have had ex parte communication with respect to all quasi-judicial items with the exception of tab 8.
Same
Councilman
for me.
Roth? Yeah. Same, everything except 8? Are you sure? Upon reflection, my colleagues?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
I have had ex parte communication.
Mr. Mayor, the same.
Okay. So we've all disclosed that we've had ex parte communication on all items with the exception of tab 8.
Thank you. So at this time, I'd ask anyone in the audience who's wishing to speak this evening on quasi-judicial items, please stand, raise your right hand to be sworn in by the clerk.
Do you hereby swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God? Thank you. You may be seated.
First item for consideration this evening is tab 8. It's card number 4269. It's a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving a special exception requested by HAYAN ORTEGA for the development of a single-family dwelling unit on an approximately 6,850 square foot parcel within the multiple apartment R3 zoning district, generally located south of Northeast 11th Street, east of Northeast 4th Avenue, with frontage along Northeast 5th Avenue, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Mr. Guardino?
Yes, sir. Very quickly, we're recommending that the mayor and council approve this special exception. This is a case where the applicant is seeking to put a single-family home in the R3 district. It's allowed by special exception if, in fact, the surrounding community, it doesn't disrupt the surrounding community. What we did was we looked at the land uses around the surrounding community. This parcel is vacant. There are 2 parcels that have single-family homes on them already, and 2 parcels surrounding that that are vacant. And therefore, we don't see any disruption to the fabric of the community, and we're recommending this can be approved.
Thank you. All right, so I'll open the public hearing. Is the applicant present or the applicant's representative? Is the property owner, is HAYAN ORTEGA present?
It's easy.
Okay. Oh, just as an aside, I'd like us, as we go forward, at least on first reading, the applicant or the applicant's representative needs to be here to have my support in the future. And if is this one reading or is there 2 readings on this? Just one reading. Okay.
Resolution.
All right. So we'll close the public hearing, and I'll ask for a motion to approve from council.
Mayor, if I may.
Yes, Councilman Roth.
Can I make a motion to defer and give them an opportunity to show up next month?
I'd like to see him here. I'm not going to penalize him since we've not kind of given that direction or indication to staff. If the majority wants to defer, I move. Yeah, okay. Well, we have, I think Councilman Roth has made a motion to defer, time certain. We have a second from Councilman Davis to defer this item to July 17th, is that correct?
Date certain.
Yeah,
July
to the date
17th.
certain, the July 17th. I hate to do it, but let's make the example and start that really applicants need to be here. And I'm going to support this. Anything that takes an R3 development off the table, I can't think of a situation where I wouldn't. But let's have the decorum and respect to be here to present the matter.
And Mayor, I think with the inclement weather that we've had this afternoon, even if they wanted to show up, they may not have been able to show up with the bad weather that we had. So I think,
Potentially,
yeah.
potentially. But again, I guess this is kind of a message to our Development Services Department that they need to, inform these individual applicants that they really need to be present for the public hearing. So we have a motion and a second to defer this item to a time certain to July 17th. So I guess we need a roll call vote on that.
Councilman Ross? Yes. Councilman Cannonball? Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
All right, so it appears that our next clustering of items would be tabs 9 through 12 with respect to Homestead Commons. If there are no
Correct.
objections, we'll have the attorneys and staff present this in total as to each of these items, and then we'll have a separate vote on each of the tabs. Mr.
So
White.
tab 9 is a second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving the rezoning as requested by Homestead Commons 2 LLC of an approximately 9.55 acre parcel of land from restricted retail commercial B1 zoning district to retail commercial B2 zoning district for the property generally located on the east side of US 1 and south of Southeast 4th Street as legally described in Exhibit A, providing for conflict, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. Tab 10 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving a special exception requested by Homestead Commons for the development of an 82,662 square foot commercial retail shopping center on an approximately 9.55 acre parcel of land generally located on the east side of South Homestead Boulevard, US 1, south of Southeast 4th Street, north of Lucy Street, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date. Tab 11 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting site plan approval as requested by Homestead Commons for the development of an 82,662 square foot retail shopping center on an approximately 9.55 acre parcel of land located on the east side of South Homestead Boulevard, US 1, south of Southeast 4th Street, north of Lucy, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date. And the final tab is tab 12. It's a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting tentative plat approval as requested by Homestead Commons for the development of an 82,662 square foot commercial retail shopping center on an approximately 9.55 acre parcel of land, generally located on the east side of US 1, south of Southeast 4th Street, north of Lucy, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
Okay, thank you. Now, with respect to tabs 9 and 10, these are second readings. We've been fully informed in that. I don't know that we need to go through the staff report with respect to items 9 and 10. I understand.
Mayor,
there have-
9 is
9.
ordinance, the rezoning ordinance is second reading. The rest are resolutions before you for the first time this evening.
Well, okay, so 10 and 11 and 12 will need, but we'll waive the staff report for 9. We haven't heard the special exception? Oh, we did. That's for the over 25,000 square feet, correct?
20.
So we've heard 9 and 10. 9. Okay. All right, so let's have the staff report on 10, 11, and 12.
I'm gonna do you one easier. I'm gonna give you one staff report for
That's
all
what I
four
want.
things, quick like a bunny rabbit. Here we go. So, as the attorney said, the site in question is proposing to do an 82,000 square foot commercial facility on 9.5 acre land. It's got 4 out parcels on it. It's got room for 1 restaurant, and effectively the main building, not the out parcels, has enough room for essentially 3 big box stores. The rezoning is to take the land from B1 to B2 so that this type of use can fit. The special exception is required when we're going to develop a big box use or use over 20,000 square feet. That's being asked for now. The site plan is the site plan. It's the building. It's the out parcels. It's all the things there. And the plat's basically a boundary survey of the facility. We're recommending approval for all of this stuff. The most important thing is the site plan. The site plan conforms with all of the standards in our B2 zoning code. So there's no reason to deny it. We recommend approval. If you have any questions, he's here to answer.
Very good. So I know Mr. Williams is back with us tonight, and if you want to breeze through until you get to the point of the site plan and T-plat. So welcome back.
Thank you so much. James Williams, the law office is located at 71 Brickell Avenue, Miami, Florida.
I'm here representing the applicant Homestead Commons 2 LLC. I'm also joined by two of my colleagues, Mr. Hugo Arza and Oliver Wexler on this, as well as several members from our design team and our ownership group. So I will do my best to go as fast as I possibly can through this, keep it as brief as possible, but I do have some ground to cover. So the property, just to refresh you, it's east of US 1, it's south of Southeast 4th Street, it's a 9.5-acre site. It's been vacant since as far back as we can see in the aerials from Miami-Dade County. It sits south of Homestead Commons Retail Commercial Center. It's to the east of it is the Aquarius Mobile Home Park. To the south is the CubeSmart self-storage facility. And then to the west of the property, you have a vacant commercial property and an O'Reilly's Auto Parts that's developed, just to give you a feel for the surrounding area. The existing land use, as you can see marked up on your future land use map on the left-hand side of your screen, it's light commercial use. On the right-hand side of your screen is the city's zoning map, and you can see it's marked up as B1 restricted retail commercial. There are 4 requests, as we just went through. Your first one is the rezoning from B1 to B2. This is the second reading. The next request is a site plan approval for the retail commercial development. This is the final reading, the first and only reading. You have your special exception approval for commercial retail uses exceeding 20,000 square feet of usable space. This is the only reading for it. And then you have your tentative plat application. This is, again, your only reading for it. So starting off with the rezoning, which we had already discussed, I'll quickly breeze through it. We're requesting to go from B1 to B2. The reason the request is interchangeable, it plays into the special exception. Under the B1, we can only go up to 10,000 square feet without a special exception. Under the B2, we can actually go up to 20,000 square feet. So we looked at this, and we wanted to minimize the special exception request. And based on the surrounding area, when you look at the area, it is very commercial retail heavy. If you look to the south of the property on the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see that there's B2 adjoining the property to the south. To the north, on the northeast side, you have B2. And then to your northeast, you'll see the dark red, that's B3. You also have B2 and B1. So the surrounding area is completely consistent and compatible. And from a planning perspective, you want to have your heavy commercial uses off of major corridors. You don't want to bring them into the neighborhoods. So big picture, as we just discussed, I'll breeze through this slide. There's 4 single-story buildings. You have 1 primary building that is going to house 3 anchor tenants. That's that big white mass on the top left image. You have 3 retail buildings, out parcels that are approximately 2,400 square feet each. As you can see in the rendering on the bottom right, we have really designed something unique. We've broken up the massing. But we also have really paid attention to the landscaping, which I'll go into further in a couple slides. This was a really nice development between the architect and the landscape, cohesively developing a site, not developing the landscape around the existing design. This is a developer that develops retail commercial centers throughout the country. They know what patrons need. And so throughout the project, and you'll see it a little closer up in a bit, we have patron-focused conveniences, such as a trellis to connect you from the east to the west side of the property that provides some shade and some seating area. And you also have strategically landscaped lighting, strategically landscaped seating areas and lighting. I do want to point out that there are 362 parking spaces that we're providing. The code only requires 285, so we have a healthy surplus of 77. This is the overall colored site plan, just to give you an idea of where all the buildings are. You can see that the 3 anchor tenants are approximately 25,000 square feet each. For 2 of the anchor tenants, right now the idea is 2 big box retailers, and then 1 of them we're looking at a grocer. The parcels to the north, you can see they're spread out, 1 on one side of the main entryway, and then you have the other 2. Now, the green space, that green looking park area, that is not part of the application. That will come in under its own separate site plan and have to go through the approval process before you at another time. So I'm not going to go through each of the zoning requirements, how we meet them, but I do want to point out that this project was designed to meet and typically exceed all of your code requirements. There are no variances that are being required as part of this application. The special exception, already talked about it, the need for it is if you're going over 20,000 square feet, we need a special exception approval for that, and we have 3 big box retailers that are averaging around 25,000 each. On the right-hand side, since one of them we're proposing as a grocer, what I did is I found a study that in 2022, which is the latest one I could find, in the U.S., the average square footage of a grocery store is 48,000 square feet. So what we've done is we provided 25,000, which is a very healthy mix between what your code allows for and what the size of the standard U.S. shopping center is. So your staff has reviewed all of the criteria for a special exception. For the special exception, it requires compatibility with the impact on the surrounding area, traffic, consistency with the comprehensive plan, compliance with the code, design compatibility. I won't go through each, but your staff says we meet all of that criteria. So design, your code has certain design elements that we have to meet in terms of building design and facade requirements. We can select a certain amount, but we have to meet the minimum amounts. And what we've done is we actually exceeded that. This design has wood paneling, you have parapets with cornices, you have step backs in the main building, which is helpful because it breaks up the massing. You don't have just one huge structure. And what we've also done is we've added these tower features that your code requires or gives us the option to use to really enhance the breakup of each of the anchor tenant stores. If you look at your bottom, the bottom's left image, you'll see we've integrated seating into the design of the actual building. We're not just putting out park benches and things of that nature. We've integrated seating into the project. And if you look closely, you'll see 3 light poles. Those are the integrated lighting to provide a nice ambiance while you're sitting there if it's at nighttime. You also have the trellis I talked about earlier, and throughout the design, we'll always have consistency. Now, I do want to point out that this is a base design. This is one of the 2 options that we have. Ultimately, when the tenants come in, when we're able to get the approved square footages so we can market it to the tenants, they will make their own minor changes to the facade of the building to make it unique for their own business. So landscaping. Landscaping is always a very important aspect of any project, but really it was focused on here. We exceed the code when it comes to your landscaping drastically. So we're required 210 trees. We're providing 282 trees. It's a surplus of 72 trees. We are required 2,103 shrubs. We are providing 3,087 shrubs. That's a surplus of 984 shrubs on this property. If you look to the image to the top right, that is what we're proposing along the east side. This is a side along the trailer park. It's a nice vegetative wall consisting of portocarpus and multiple different types of trees, shade trees. If you look to the bottom of that, you'll see that that is the existing image from the trailer park looking into that property. So we not only benefit ourselves by providing a nice green vegetative wall and privacy for our facility, but we also do that for the property to the east of us for the trailer park. Not only that, with this level of landscaping, we really take care of any residual light that could come off the property, even though we meet all of the photometric code requirements. This is something that will help us in terms of keeping any sound and residual lighting on our site. So I always like to pull out some of the trees and shrubs that I particularly like on a site and indicate where they're at, and you also have the tree counts. So while we could have just done the standard shade trees, right, as you typically will see, we wanted to add pops of color. The landscape was a very big feature, right? With nicer landscape comes a nicer property and it's more likely you're going to maintain it well, right? So we have pops of color throughout. We have crepe myrtles and southern magnolia, which you really don't see often in projects. We also have the fire bushes. We have the wild date palms spread out throughout the property, which these are, if you look at trees, these are on the very expensive end of the landscaping features. We also have the southern red cedars, which provide a nice privacy shrub along that east side for the trailer park. And finally, the last request is the tentative plat request. We're required to plat the property by code, and we're just doing one single tract. Now, as part of this project, there is a cross-access agreement your staff has reviewed and approved. We are having that cross-access agreement with the commercial property to the north so that we can, when we develop southeast, this private drive, which will allow you to come from Southeast 4th Street straight across, now that we can meet the FDOT standard to have that angle, we are going to have the ability to have entry from the site to the north and vice versa. So traffic always comes up with every application. There is no decrease of the level of service to the reviewed signalized intersections. This is a traffic study that was reviewed by your staff and approved. It's part of the application. What I also want to highlight in this project is location. There is no access to the property from the east, so there will be no cutting through any residential areas to get to the actual site. You have to get to the site from either 328 or 320th. That's always a very important point that I'd like to bring up, especially with this site. So when you're looking at the proposed traffic improvements, starting from the very top, you have a proposed traffic signal that we are putting in, the developer at his cost is putting in, that will allow you to cross over Southeast 4th Street instead of having a stop sign, which creates a very dangerous situation when you're trying to make that left turn. When you go further south, you'll see the proposed southbound left turn lane that we're putting in that will allow you to enter the property at the main drive. And then we have a proposed directional median to help really with the safety so no one tries to make an illegal left turn. So economic benefits, we have non-reoccurring jobs. Those are your construction-related jobs. We're looking at 312. When you add the salaries up for that year, for a year of this construction, you're looking at $16,400,000, which is a large number. When you're looking at reoccurring jobs, those are jobs that are going to be there after the project is developed. We're looking at increasing the jobs by 223. Anticipated total labor income is $4.6 million. Now, when we look at ad valorem taxes, the city of Homestead over a 5-year period, what the city of Homestead will collect from those taxes, you're looking at $800,000. 10 years, you're looking at approximately 1.5, 15 years, 2.8, and so forth. The city of Homestead impact fees for police, you're looking at approximately $31,000. For public works, you're looking at approximately $8,300. Economic impacts to Miami-Dade County, you're looking at roadway impact fees of approximately $1.1 million, with fire impact fees at approximately $43,000. All the reviewing departments and agencies that review this application have no objection to this. This has been a labor of love with your staff. We've gone through 4 DRC applications, reviews, and we've gotten to this point over the course of a year. Staff recommends per application the approval of each. Now, I want to submit onto the record, which we will be submitting right now, 3 proposed conditions, which will be before you. And Vice Mayor Fletcher, I'll read it into the record so you're also aware. The first condition is any proposed signage submitted for approval in connection to the application shall not include the word commons or any variation of the word. Condition number 2, the applicant shall maintain the project's approved landscaping once installed as required by Section 2911 of the City of Homestead's Code of Ordinances. Condition number 3, the applicant shall include the placement of an in-ground flagpole on the site plan and provide the necessary design material at the time of building permit submittal. Now, I was going to conclude my presentation there, but I wanted to provide you with an alternative facade through comments that we've received to see if it's the council's will that they prefer this facade over the one that we've previously shown on the slides, and I can flip back so you can see it. So we got clearance in April 22nd is when we got through our DRCs after the 4 submittals. From April 1st to April 4th of this year, there was a visioning charrette that was held. And at that charrette, there were 5 different designs, different styles that were shown. This is one of them. These are the 3 renderings of this type of style. It's an industrial contemporary style. We have modified the facade on the main elevation as an example before you, and those are the materials before you, to see if this is a design change that you would prefer, because at the last meeting there were some concerns on the design, and so we wanted to put this forth as a possible option. If this is something that the council would prefer, I have proposed condition that ties you to this type of design that we could submit so that we can still move forward with the application and hopefully not have to go through another DRC. And with that, I'll conclude the presentation. I respectfully request your approval on all these applications. I'm here to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. I'll open it up to questions or comments from council. Councilwoman.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you to the presenter and to the applicant for taking all of our requests into consideration. I really appreciate the changes that you're proposing, and I do like the alternative elevations.
Okay.
So if I had to pick one, either left, right, or center, my eye's going to the center. So the bottom part is the incorporation of those?
Yep.
So if you get this in, can we make this for staff? Joe? Could we make this a condition to permit and not necessarily have to go back into DRC to incorporate these?
You can make it a condition. It doesn't require them to go back to DRC, but he'll have to submit the revised, because we have a plans list. And so if we're now dealing with this set, staff will need to have those plans submitted and revisions, so it will be included in the final development order for the site plan.
Okay, so no DRC, and then we just come back for a final
It
site plan
would be an
approval?
administrative approval of any changes.
Great. So I'm in favor of these changes, and I will support this item tonight, and I love the new rendering. Thank you.
Thank you. And just for clarification, is it an administrative application submittal, or we just update the elevations to reflect this?
If you're going to change the elevations, we're going to need to see it and administratively approve it to make sure it matches this. Now, I haven't seen any of this stuff before right now, so it doesn't matter because we don't necessarily have elevation standards, but you know what we need to do is match the approval. So we haven't reviewed any of this information. It's all new to me. So I have to look at it and make sure that whatever you submit, when you change what's in the plans that we reviewed, that, I don't really know what to do with this. I've never seen it.
Because it's just the material changes. It's not a form-based change or anything. So it would just, we meet all the design requirements. It would be the materials have just been modified. So wood is still wood, just different type.
So I'm assuming what you've presented here has got, I guess, a legend to it.
Yep.
We would then take that as part of your approval. We'll have to put it in our plan somehow, since we don't have it as part of the agenda package. We don't have it as part of any of the reviews that we've gone through. We'll put that as part of the approval, and then when you come in to build what you want to build, we'll make sure you match that.
And just, I don't know if I gave you a copy. I apologize.
No, I haven't seen any of this stuff
Right.
till
So
now.
we'll include this as a condition with this, and then subsequent to this meeting, they'll submit electronically the plans that we could switch out and
Yeah,
have it
makes
as part of the
perfect-
plans list.
Yeah. Makes perfect
approved
sense to
with the
me.
development order.
And I think that's the fastest way for you to be able to proceed and for your applicants not to have to waste any additional time with having to go back to DRCs and additional site plan hearings, et cetera. So, but I do like the changes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you to your wonderful team for assisting.
Thank you. All right, Councilman Davis had a comment.
I want to thank you for an excellent briefing. And I want to thank you and your team for working so well with the city. It's always a process, you know, it's always kind of grinds its way through. But thank you very much for the professionalism shown in working with our city folks. Of particular note, thank you for letting us know how many jobs this is going to make, because that's a big deal. We got to get people employed. And every development that comes here needs to be able to say, this is what we bring to the table. We're not just building this thing and walking away. So that's essentially 300 jobs, more or less permanent in whatever fashion. I support Councilwoman Avalise. I think that's a great idea. Would it be helpful if we all decide on exactly what we want to see, so there's no question, and we'll just all...
They're proffering as a potential condition, you know, the screen in front of us has alternative elevation down across the bottom.
Okay, so
which is not what was in the package, but we can condition the approval on substantially that look.
And so I concur with the councilwoman.
Thank you, sir.
And if I can add just for a minute, I want to also thank the other representatives that are here for the, that have the other applicants, the other owner, neighboring owner to this parcel. That was really important to me, that we have a cohesive look. In the coming months, another application will be coming, and so if you know, if there needs to be any additional conversations and help from our development services team, so that the crosswalk and the light and the landscaping around those intersections make a great look for the entrance and exit of our city boundary, I would really appreciate that everybody's on the same page with that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Roth, Councilman Bailey? And again, I just want to add my thank yous to you and your client on being very receptive and quickly receptive in reacting to, you know, apparently mine and others' concerns about the look. I think this, you know, a little bit of tweaking went a long way, you know, and the frustrated architect thing, to me, this is just so much, you know, and I'll say it publicly. I thought the initial rendering looked cheap. It just was saying, we're going to throw this up, Homestead, and you're lucky to have this here. This, to me, reflects pride in ownership and pride in community. So I look forward to this being approved once we have a motion on the table to be approved with the conditions presented.
Let's take them in order.
The ones you read, as well as the alternative elevation.
Right, so we'll
with
take it in
the
order,
site plan.
not
Yeah.
for the rezoning, but when we get
Right.
to the site plan, those conditions will be
Sure.
part of the site plan.
Okay, so, in case I didn't do it, is there any public comment? Is there anyone online or in the audience wishing to speak? So I'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion to approve tab 9, the rezoning. Moved by Cannonball, seconded by Councilwoman Avila. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Councilman Roth? Yes. Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Cannonball? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
All right. Next item would be the tab 10, the special exception. Do we have a motion to approve the special exception? Moved by Councilwoman Avila, seconded by Councilman Davis. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Councilman Cannonball? Yes. Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilman Roth? Yes. Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And the next item would be tab 12, motion to approve the site plan with conditions. Mr. White? Tab.
All right, tab 11 is the site plan.
That's where we are. Tab 11, the site plan, and this is where we would add the four conditions, correct?
Right,
The
there are
three
three.
you read into the record, plus the alternative elevation.
Correct.
All right, so is that your motion, Councilwoman?
Yes, and thank you for the flagpole.
And we have a second. Second by Councilwoman Bailey. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Roth? Yes. Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Cannonball? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Okay, so before we go to the final item, I had two questions. Can we expect a closing this calendar year so at least this expensive dirt will be on the tax rolls next year?
So
That's not a yes or a no, that's a strong maybe we'll close this year.
Well, we're going to do everything we possibly can on this one. We're full steam ahead. We have, in terms of timing, you'll be seeing things being submitted to the city fairly soon.
Rumor has it that, you know, this week we're going to add, due to one closing, in excess of $60 million to the tax rolls. This one will be a nice addition for next year. And I also want to thank everyone involved for not bringing one more square inch of residential in an application. So having pontificated about that, do we have a motion to approve tab 12, the tentative plat for Homestead Commons? Moved by Councilman Cannonball, seconded by Councilwoman Bailey. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Cannonball? Yes. Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Roth? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you all.
Appreciate it. I hope everyone has a great night.
Okay, moving right along. We'll take tabs 13 and 14 together as a joint item. Mr. White.
Yes, Mayor. Tab 14 and 15 both deal with a variance request.
13 and 14.
I'm sorry, 13 and 14 both deal with a variance request from Leon Medical. Tab 13 deals with a variance request for wall signage, and tab 14 deals with a variance request for additional monument signage. So tab 13 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting a variance request as requested by 2250 Northeast 8th Street, LLC, from section 238010 of the City Code of Ordinances to allow 3 additional flat wall signs on the Leon Medical Center office building where no more than 1 is permitted on an approximately 6.4 acre parcel of land, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date. The tab 14 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting a variance request as requested by 2250 Northeast 8th Street from section 2387 of the City Code of Ordinances to permit a freestanding water and entry feature monument structure encompassing 5 project occupancy identification signs associated with the Leon Medical Center office building where no more than 1 freestanding or monument sign with a maximum sign area of 80 square feet is permitted on approximately 6.4 acre parcel, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Cordino.
Yes, sir. Quickly, we're recommending that the mayor and council denies both the proposed variances. The attorney stated what they are, 3 additional signs where 1 is allowed and 5 additional that exceed the 80 square feet on the monument sign. We have a strict hardship standard in Homestead where the applicant needs to prove a hardship on each of the 7 categories that we evaluated by through our code. They don't meet any of the criteria, and for that reason, we're recommending denial.
Thank you, sir. All right. Do we have the applicant's representative with us tonight? Welcome back.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Mayor, council members. Alex Arias, office is at 701 Brickell Avenue. I'm joined this evening by my colleagues Erica Adams and Hugo Arza, as well as CEO of Leon Medical Centers, Albert Mauri, and Mike Sheely and Julio Rabul, part of the company's executive team, who are here to answer any questions you may have. We're grateful for the opportunity to be before you tonight as we progress with this much anticipated project in the city. I'm sure many of you are familiar with this particular 6.4 acre property fronting on Campbell Drive and located within the Portofino Plaza PUD, as it is the former site of the flagship cinema, which closed in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. Vacant since 2020, Leon Medical Centers purchased the property, and last year this council approved a site plan modification in order to permit the adaptive reuse of the shuttered movie theater building envelope into a state-of-the-art medical center. Since then, the applicant has been hard at work with the phased construction of the new facility and are anticipating a TCO in the very near future in order to begin servicing patients this summer. This facility will have the full gamut of services that their patients have come to expect at their other locations, including primary care physicians, lab services, MRI and CT scan diagnostics, pharmacy, urgent care, as well as specialties such as cardiology, oncology, urology, dental, and optical. Leon has already made an impact in this community, currently serving patients at a temporary facility just down the road at 1440 Northeast 8th Street. However, they're very excited to offer their renowned form of medical excellence and personal attention from this new world-class center. As such, the requests before you tonight deal with particularly 2 elements that are necessary for clear visibility, identification, and access to the site. The first, which is tab 13, a minor non-use variance to allow for additional wall signage on the north elevation that's directed towards Campbell Drive and the south elevation directed towards the turnpike of the project building towers as illustrated on the screen. Unfortunately, the current city code only allows 1 wall sign per right-of-way frontage, regardless of the size of the building envelope or the setback of the structure. This is a 46,000 plus square foot building, and it does have a 220 plus setback from Campbell Drive. This little interpretation of the code would negatively impact visibility and access to the center. This image delineates the northern facade of the building fronting on Campbell Drive as approved in 2023. That's on the upper left-hand side of the screen. And the signage that's being proposed on the respective building towers is located on the lower right in order to make the medical center more easily identifiable to vehicular traffic. The signage that you see there on the upper right has been placed on the building, and this was approved last year on the eastern and western facades of the building. Secondly, tab 14, as the medical center does have a setback of over 200 feet from Campbell Drive, the applicant is proposing a minor non-use variance to allow for additional monument signage for an elegant entry feature with welcoming water elements near the PUD entrance on Campbell Drive. This entry feature is reasonable in both size and scope and will incorporate elements of the building design and architecture. Additionally, these entry feature elements and the proposed signage thereon have become a design staple for Lowell Medical Center facilities and have been incorporated into a number of their other facilities throughout Miami-Dade County. The need for these minor non-use variances are dictated by the fact that the property is located at the rear of the Portofino Plaza PUD with a significant setback from Campbell Drive and abutted by and obstructed by the Ronald Reagan Turnpike to the east and south. These special circumstances severely impact visibility and accessibility from Campbell Drive and northbound and southbound traffic on the turnpike. In this unique case, we believe adherence to the stringent city code regulations would be impractical and would negatively impact the proposed medical use from a life safety perspective, as it may limit patient, which is an elderly population, and emergency response vehicles from proper visibility and access to the property. Ultimately, these requests will serve to bolster the functional and aesthetic characteristics of the project, as well as this prominent corridor along Campbell Drive. Once fully operational, the center will also serve to meet the critical needs of the city's 65 and over population, offering medical service to an estimated 5,500 to 6,000 Medicare patients throughout the city of Homestead and the greater South Dade area. As such, we respectfully request your approval of this application and are here to answer any questions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, appreciate that. Council, questions, comments? Councilwoman Avila.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to just highlight that our sign code is pretty annoying, for lack of a better word. We have struggled with it for a long time. In fact, I think we have had a policy to just not enforce the sign code unless there was an actual application in development services, and then at that point, we rile up the property owner and tell them that their 30-year signs that have existed forever are no longer acceptable. But I digress. I'm not in support of this application because of those reasons. I'm more in support of the application because the fact that I did a site visit to the existing Lowell Medical Center, everything that I'm seeing here is what I expected at the time of approving the site plan back then. So this is nothing new to me. So, I mean, I'm open to hearing if there are any objections and listening to those points, but as far as I'm concerned, I don't see any issues. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Bailey.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to clarify for the record, I did not have communications on this item. I apologize. So 8 and this item, I didn't. I don't have any issue with the signage. I think that it looks great. As far as the 2 columns are concerned, I know that you would have more visibility than from the turnpike behind. The only thing is I think the water feature is a little bit out of place. And it might not be if you would consider listing some of the other businesses there as well. You are obviously the biggest tenant there. So I think that could be a very nice show of faith or new neighbor that you would consider adding the other businesses as some of those other monument businesses or have their signage.
I think since it's a PUD, they already have one monument sign listed with the tenants with respect to the office building.
So if you can go back to the...
I'll go back and show the
because I don't see where that falls within the...
So if we were to go westward on Campbell, there's another entrance there, which that's actually the entrance for the office building, the Chili's, and the other partial tenants. Those have a monument sign that clearly identify those uses there. With respect to this one, the signage that you're seeing there is actually from the Kendall Center. So it's identification sign, but it's also a design feature as well for the building and the architecture. So I believe that to add any additional signage to it would take away from the architectural beauty.
So can you explain on the map where that water feature falls in regards to Campbell? Is that Campbell?
The water feature, if you see it on the sides
green,
there.
is that the green rectangle?
So that's the location of the monument sign is the green, yes. Green square.
Water feature monument.
Yes.
It's a
and
water
then-
feature.
And then the actual water features are on the two side walls. So where it says Leon Medical Centers, there's two smaller walls next to it. You'll have the logo and right under those small water features into lagoons.
No, I do. I'm just trying to visualize it and think, is it fair for the other tenants that are inside? Because
They're two separate parcels. This is an owned parcel.
Yeah, we have
and
no other
Portofino
tenants
Plaza.
on our-
This is not single ownership, multi-tenant. They are the sole occupant of that parcel.
Correct. We belong to the PUD, but this parcel, the only tenant here is Leon Medical Centers.
Okay.
And I think, but it's correct to say that more or less this sign would be located if you were turning into the driveway of the movie theater from Campbell, the old flagship signs on your left, kind of in that area.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. To the east
I
of the
can
driveway.
I can see that now. I thought if it was going to be kind of smack in the middle, that would be a little bit of,
Yeah.
Okay, no, thank you. That's all I have.
Okay. Councilman Cannonball.
Well, I think this only will beautify our city, especially the entrance of our city. So I'm going to vote for you, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Avila hit the nail on the head that, well, I don't think that what's being requested is out of scope or scale for this project. So for me, it's not an over ask, that the fact that they're here is a reflection of our sign code. And I'll use that to springboard into my comment that I can't wait to sit down with our new code enforcement director and help, identify what's right and wrong with our current sign code and perhaps reach into his legal expertise to begin rewriting our sign code. And that's not to say that we don't need a lot more enforcement, but our sign code is nearly as antiquated as the parts of the code that talk about telegraph offices and haberdasheries. So, notwithstanding the director's objections and recommendation of denial, and I understand to meet the four corners of the code, he's obligated to make that recommendation. But I hope to see this go forward. So is there any public comment on this item? Anybody online? All right, do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Yeah, just to talk on this a little bit as well. I think it's only going to beautify the area and make it a better entrance feature for that facility. And with that, I'll make a motion for approval.
All right, so your motion is with respect to tab 13, the variance for the wall sign. And that's seconded by
That is correct.
Councilman Cannonball. So let's have a roll call vote on tab 13.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Councilman Davis? Councilman Roth? Councilman Cannonball? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
All right, do we have a motion on tab 14 with respect to the variance for the monument sign? Moved by Councilwoman Avila, seconded by Councilman Cannonball.
Second.
Okay, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Davis? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Councilman Cannonball? Councilman Roth? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you,
you very
sir.
much.
Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, moving right along. Moving right along, the next grouping is with respect to the Touching Miami with Love project. We'll hear tab 17, 18, 19, back to 15, and 16. We'll hear those in lump, followed by 5 separate votes. So let's.
Right,
let's,
just
let's
bear
get
with me for a
posted.
moment.
Yes,
I've got to
certainly.
read a book here for you. Tab 17 is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City of Homestead Comprehensive Plan by amending the text of the planned urban neighborhood future land use category contained in Objective 2, Policy 2.1, to permit affordable housing with a maximum net density of 25 dwelling units per acre on property within the civic government subarea of the Southwest Neighborhood Plan, providing for transmittal of this ordinance to the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity and all other units of local government and governmental agencies as required under Chapter 163, Part 2, Florida statutes, providing for adoption pursuant to Section 163, 3184 Florida statutes, providing for inclusion in the comprehensive plan, providing for repeal of conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. Second and final reading. Tab 18 is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the Southwest Neighborhood Master Plan by amending regulations governing building frontages, general standards, sub-area zoning, and building type for the civic government sub-area, and providing for conflicts, severability, inclusion in the master plan, and providing for an effective date. Second and final reading. Tab 19 is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 30, Zoning, Article 3, District Regulations, Division 19, GP Government Property District, Section 30-382, Affordable Housing, Division 23, Planned Urban Neighborhood District, Section 30-396.40, Maximum Density, Section 30-396.44, Maximum Density, Section 30-396.61, Affordable Housing, Section 30-396.62 Sub-Areas, Article 4, Supplemental District, Division 3, Density, Section 30-457, Maximum Density Established, Article 5, Non-Conforming Lots, Uses, and Structures, Section 30-553, Exception for Affordable Housing, all to permit affordable housing with a maximum net density of 25 dwelling units per acre on property within the civic government sub-area of the Southwest Neighborhood Plan, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date. Second and final reading.
Mr. Cordino.
Yeah. Let's see.
One more chapter.
Yes. Tab 15 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting site plan approval as requested by TML Homestead LLC for the development of a multifamily affordable housing rental building consisting of 100 dwelling units on an approximately 4.22 acre parcel of land generally located at 1350 Southwest 4th Street as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date. And the final item is tab 16. It's a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting tentative plat approval as requested by TML Homestead LLC for the development of a multifamily affordable housing rental building consisting of 100 dwelling units on approximately 4.22 acre parcel of land generally located at 1350 Southwest 4th Street as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
Now it's Mr. Cordino.
Okay, I'm going to give you the Reader's Digest version of what he just said. We have five different items on here. What the applicant wants to do, like we said, is affordable housing, 100 affordable housing units on 4.2 acres. The density would be about 25 units an acre. There's a necessity that they be affordable housing for 15 years. They come in 1, 2, and 3 bedroom models, pretty much all evenly spread, and they consist of 147 parking spaces and 14 on-street spaces. So that's essentially what they want to do. All of the other changes, the code amendment, the master plan amendment, and the comprehensive plan amendment are simply to allow affordable housing in the district. So there's just text that says you're allowed affordable housing, and the tentative plat is just a tentative plat. So we're recommending approval of all of this because we found that it meets all the aspects of the code. So with that, they're also here to answer questions.
All right, thank you. Have at it.
Good evening and thank you. I will attempt to be speedy. Mayor Losner, Vice Mayor Fletcher, City Council members, Mr. Manager, Ms. Brown, and City staff. My name is Adele Valencia with LSN Law. Office is located at 3800 Northeast 1st Avenue, Suite 200. I'm joined this evening by my colleague Tracy Slavens and Lizbeth Bueno. Also, Trina Harris, the Executive Director of Touching Miami with Love, Benji Power of DBC Prosita, the developer, Rafael Gisari, he's an architect of Glavovich Studio, and Corey Dorman of Kimley Horn. I'm here on behalf of TML Homestead LLC, the applicant and property owner who has partnered with DBC Proceed, a well-established developer of high-quality affordable housing. We're so grateful for your support, your time, your consideration of this innovative project to date. And tonight we're requesting your approval of the proposed code amendments to the Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood District Comprehensive Plan, and also approval of our site plan and plat applications. This project will enhance the quality of life in the city generally, and particularly in the Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood. The property is located at 1350 Southwest 4th Street. It's approximately 4 acres, and it is zoned Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood District within the civic government sub-area. The land use designation is Planned Urban Neighborhood. This project emerges from an innovative partnership between Touching Miami with Love, a nonprofit founded in 1995 that has been capably serving Homestead families for over almost 30 years. And you'll hear from Trina Harris, the executive director, shortly. This project proposes adding 100 units of affordable housing to the existing Touching Miami with Love campus while preserving the nonprofit's facilities and operations. Thoughtfully designed, this new campus will integrate with the nonprofit, the surrounding parks, the multifamily developments nearby. It will also enhance pedestrian connectivity and enrich the Southwest neighborhood with new vibrancy, as this is one of the first new developments in the planned urban neighborhood. We hope that this housing will provide opportunities for teachers and staff at nearby schools, as well as others in our community to live near where they work and play. The proposed site plan will upgrade and unify the entire property, beautifying the exterior with new landscaping and modernizing the existing parking lot to allow sufficient parking for both the nonprofit and the housing development. To accomplish this vision, we're asking for the requested amendments to the city code. The amendments to the city code seek to permit affordable housing. Excuse me, I skipped a slide, sorry. There we go. They seek to permit affordable housing within the civic government sub-area of the Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood, provide for a maximum density of 25 units per acre within that district, define affordable housing by the Florida statutory definition, add affordable housing as a permitted use within the civic government sub-area of the Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood District, include affordable housing developments on parcels designated civic government sub-area within the Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood District, permit affordable housing units within the civic government sub-area of the Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood District at a maximum of 25 units per acre. As you can see, these are all thoughtfully designed and narrowly tailored. The amendments to the Southwest Planned Urban Neighborhood Master Plan seek to allow 25 units per acre, reference affordable housing as a use included within the civic government sub-area, allow the apartment condominium as a building type within the civic government sub-area, if approved by the City Council for the purpose of affordable housing, allow a maximum building height of 5 stories for apartment condominium building types within the civic government sub-area of the Southwest Fund for the purpose of affordable housing, and finally, allow flexibility in the materials deployed within the construction of the apartment condominium building types for the civic government sub-area to best meet the Floridian architectural style in the construction of affordable housing while maintaining the appropriate scale for the neighborhood. Allow flat roofs in the apartment condominium building type within the civic government sub-area, and allow a building frontage of 60% for apartment condominiums within the civic government sub-area. Just a note on this, you'll notice that the Floridian architectural style is present, but that also we've designed this for maximum resiliency and affordability. There's a white reflective roof. We've requested the white roofs because that'll lower the cost of cooling the facility over time for the renters who will live there. The proposed amendment to the comprehensive plan is to amend the permitted density to allow 25 affordable housing units per net acre in this area only. Our site plan, the proposed site plan, which integrates the proposed affordable housing respectfully with the existing nonprofit campus, has been designed in the tropical modern Floridian style with an eye towards maximizing quality of life for residents and upgrading the entire campus. We propose improving the landscaping across the entire property, including 69 new trees. So we'll be having shade trees, multi-trunk palms, shrubbery. The site plan also includes a total of 147 parking spots, with 102 added to the housing part of the campus and 14 off-street parking spots. A new crosswalk will be provided to improve pedestrian connectivity to the adjacent park, and a new bike lane will be added pursuant to this county requirement. Plat. The property consists of a 12,000 square foot, which houses Touching Miami with Love currently and will remain. The applicant is seeking to improve the property with a new 115,930 square foot, 100-unit affordable housing building on the southern portion of the parcel. The proposed development, as stated, will be a rental community, and the applicant will be responsible for the maintenance and management of the building. I'm now going to turn over the presentation to my colleague Trina Harris, the Executive Director of Touching Miami with Love, who will share what this project means to her. And before I do, just want to share some additional images of what we hope this beautiful project will look like. Here's from a pedestrian perspective, so you can get a sense of the vision. And with that, Trina.
Thank you. Mayor, council, city staff, thank you all for allowing us to share our vision and our hope to be a steward and a support continuously in our community of Homestead. Currently, we're approaching 30 years of service in this community, and we pride ourselves on meeting the needs of our community. And the housing need and the crisis of affordable housing is one that we couldn't sit on the sidelines and not provide an avenue for our families, our staff, our teachers, our police officers to not have a decent, affordable place to live in our community. We do not want to lose any more of our staff members and our families who are relocating out of the state. This project is a project which will create sustainability for our staff, for our surrounding community, and for our organization. It allows us to have more financial flexibility, sustainability, and continue the work that we're doing in our communities with providing educational and safe spaces for our children and youth. So thank you for allowing us to share this presentation, and we look forward to your decision.
With that, we'll happily entertain any questions that I'd ask my colleagues from the architecture studio and Kimley Horn to join us. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So I'll open it up to questions or comments from council on this item. Yes, Councilwoman Bailey.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, to put it shortly, I mean, you had me at TML and Preceda. But no, if you don't know what TML has been doing in the area, it is just, the list goes on and on. Besides the youth programs, just any opportunity for them to host a community meeting and invite anyone from the public to attend for educational purposes and for them to be a pillar of the community. I knew that this was going to be a great opportunity for the Southwest. I think this is a really good opportunity for us to help in doing whatever we can to make sure that as many teachers are invited, because for us to be able to offer affordable housing for teachers to stay in the area, we're losing Homestead Middle School's principal, not necessarily related, but I mean, the list just goes on, and we really need to do better if we want our schools to be better. And then the other piece, which I would like to learn more about and see what we could do on our end, is that is great to have that bike lane in front of the project, but how does that continue on through 187th Avenue? So personally, I just don't understand how a project would have a bike lane in one little piece and it couldn't continue for another specific amount of distance. But I just appreciate everything from understanding the need for a better crosswalk, just to have a community partner that understands the specific needs, along with a developer who listens and has solutions. I couldn't be more in favor, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for your presentation. Thank you for attempting to reach out to me last week. I was sick with the flu, but we've talked many, many times before, and I have both voiced my support for this item. I think that the color schemes I think it's beautiful and brave to choose white because of how unforgiving it can be with the dust and the grime that can build up. So you have a plan in place for maintenance to make sure that you're not waiting on our new code enforcement officers to reach out to you and say, time to wash your white walls, right? I mean, we see that around our buildings, even here with the City Hall. So it's just a lot of maintenance. Keep that in mind. Do we have any protections in place to make sure that the TML facility and its mission continues into perpetuity? Like, is there a deed restriction? What I would hate to see is that we approve 100 units of affordable housing, and then 5 years, 10 years from now, you know, a property owner comes back and says, well, we couldn't continue our programming, and so we want to just continue to add more affordable housing. How do we make sure that that doesn't happen?
Well, TML will remain owners of the property. We are not selling our land. We are operating under a capitalized lease agreement, so we're leasing our land to this deal. Our mission is our mission. We're not going anywhere, and we have also put into our agreement the first right of refusal for this development after the course of 10 to 15 years as well. So we look to fully own this project at that state.
Thank you for that. And if there's any additional comment from staff or from mayor and council on that, I appreciate it. Thank you.
A question to the applicants and then a question to staff. And I apologize, I missed the forest for the trees on this question. And you kind of touched on it in your commentary with the councilwoman. Is this project going to be a tax exempt project? Will this produce any ad valorem to the city? I understand, I guess, that, you know, if you continue to operate as you were doing now, you know, doing, I guess, the educational facility and the not-for-profit ownership, but does this transaction change the flavor of the taxability at all?
Yeah, so it doesn't impact the fact that the nonprofit owns the property. That, of course, keeps it as property tax exempt. However, yes, you're correct. This will be a income-producing rental apartment building. You've, of course, noticed quite a few of the new policies coming from the state of Florida, from the Live Local bill, and separate from Live Local bill, a separate kind of associated bill is trying to figure out ways to provide more affordable housing by providing certain property tax exemptions. Today, we actually do not know how this property will play out with those rules. It all depends on the exact funding that we use to develop the project. So there is a chance that the property may be eligible. The rental apartments may also be eligible to be property tax exempt. There's a chance, but there's a chance that we not qualify for that.
Well, and again, understand that we have a balancing act from this side of the dais. 100 units create impacts. Police calls, parks, all of those ongoing services. And, you know, we've tried to get ahead of the curve on RTZ issues and Live Local issues. So we need to go into this very clear-eyed understanding that while we're going to be providing services and amenities to those future residents who are having the benefit of the affordability, we're really putting that off on the rest of the taxpayers of this city. So we really need to understand and be very, very clear about that. So, and again, I apologize, I didn't ask that earlier. You know, you haven't proffered any payment in lieu of taxes, and this is not the time to do that. But let me ask staff. If this approval goes forward as expected, will the 25 units per acre be the highest finally approved density at this point? I know we've got the Flagler lofts pending, and we've got shotgun pending, and some triangle pending. But if this is approved, is that going to set the highest cap at this point?
I think the highest density we have is 31 units an acre, so this would be below that.
Okay. And the 31 is?
Shotgun property.
But we talked earlier, that wasn't a final approval, was it? I thought that the representation earlier was we didn't do
Text
that.
amendment. We modified all the legislative items, the comp plan.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. All right. Anything further from council? So, anyone online or in chambers wishing to speak on tab 17, 18, 19, 15, or 16, which collectively are referred to as the Touching Miami with Love project. No, he's just wandering. He's not coming to talk. He who shall remain nameless, right, and off camera. Okay, so we'll close the public hearing and let's have a motion on tab 17, the comp plan amendment. Moved by Councilwoman Bailey, second by Councilman Cannonball. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Ross? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Cannonball? Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
All right, tab 18, we need a motion, master plan amendment for the Southwest Neighborhood Master Plan. Moved by Councilwoman Bailey.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Davis. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Councilman Avila? Yes. Councilman Ross? Yes. Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Cannonball? Yes. Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Lawson?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Next item would be tab 19, the code amendment. Do we have a motion to approve? Moved by Councilwoman Avila. Bailey, I'm sorry. Seconded by
Second.
Councilman Davis. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilman Ross? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Cannonball? Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Now, tab 15, site plan approval. Do we have a motion to approve? Moved by Councilwoman Bailey, seconded by Councilman Cannonball. Roll call on the site plan approval, please.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Councilman Cannonball? Councilman Ross? Yes. Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And finally, tab 16, the tentative plat approval. Do we have a motion? Moved by Councilwoman Bailey. Seconded by Councilman Roth. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilman Davis? Yes. Councilman Ross? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Cannonball? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
All right, thank you all. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
We look
Thank you,
forward to
council
seeing dirt being turned, and Slavens, it's good to have you back in the house. Good to see you out. All right, moving on. Tab 20, car number 4230, the temporary moratorium. Mr. White, or is that you, Mr.?
Yes, tab
Earl?
20 is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, providing for imposition of a temporary moratorium on issuance of development orders and permits and on the processing of development applications. City Code text amendments, rezoning, comprehensive plan text, and land use plan amendments for development of townhome, cluster home, and multiple residential dwelling units within the city, proposed residential development on lots less than 7,500 square feet within the city, and any proposed residential development over 6 dwelling units per acre within the city, exempting specified development, providing for waivers, providing for vested rights, providing for appeals, providing for exhaustion of administrative remedies, providing for a 12-month term to be extended if necessary by the council, providing for conflict, severability, and providing for an effective date. This is second and final reading.
Mr. Gordino, anything new?
No, sir. Obviously, this is warranted in order to evaluate and address the consequential and growing demands that we feel that medium and high density growth has placed on the city. So in the 12 months going forward, we'll be doing that.
Very good, and we have addressed the concerns of those who spoke on first reading.
Yes, sir.
All right, is there anyone online or in the audience wishing to address the moratorium? All right, I'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion to approve on second reading. Huh? I can't move this one. Moved by Councilman Cannonball. Seconded by Councilwoman Avila. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bailey? Yes. Councilman Roth? Yes. Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Councilman Cannonball? Yes. Councilman Davis? Yes. Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Amen. Thank you all. We have a lot of work ahead of us. Next item, car number 4245, tab 21. This is the Rapid Transit Development overlay ordinance.
Right.
Mr.
This is
White.
second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, establishing Chapter 30 zoning, Article 2, District Regulations, Division 27, Rapid Transit Development Overlay, RTDO District, and corresponding development regulations and standards for the RTDO District, providing for inclusion in the code, severability, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date. This is second and final reading.
Thank you, sir. Move. Yeah, we'll waive the staff report. Move by.
Wait,
move-
Wait, hold it. James was going to interrupt me.
So
Do something.
before we,
were almost there.
I need direction from you all on one aspect of this ordinance before we adopt. So as a placeholder for first reading, there's a chart in the ordinance, and I would direct your attention to the Exhibit 5, which is the ordinance, to the car, to the very back. And if you go to page 7, Exhibit 5 to the car.
Yeah, oh, that's, okay.
I'm sorry?
Down at the bottom. Right, okay,
Then turn to page 7, there's a chart there.
okay,
All right, so I just made a notation. The column that says maximum density, that was arranged for consideration that you all need to determine before, finalize before second reading. So all of these subzones basically coincide with the busway corridor or rapid transit corridor. And the first number in the range, you can't go below that. That's the minimum. But you can go above, right? You can go past 40, but this was just sort of to be in line with some of the ideas and notions that were presented at the charrette. I know that you don't have all of that done yet before you, and this might be a little premature. So if you want to be safe, you can stay consistent with the lower number, or we can always come back and change this, right? We just have to get this on the books and submit it to the county.
okay, so, and we've touched on some of these numbers in a couple of other hearings tonight, whether it's 25 or 31. So, for example, for my taste, subzone 1, the first category there is 15 to 40. You know, if 31 is our current max, let's back that down to 31. Well, but subzone 2, now would that be an example of what we've talked about with the triangle property? Is that kind of extrapolated from that?
No, the actual subzone 2, that includes the metropolitan urban center that's designated on the county's plan. And so that circle encompasses the transit station, and the county requires us to have the minimum. So that's the minimum that comes out of that.
Well, the minimum is 15.
Right, the minimum is 15, so you can't go below, I mean,
No, I
the minimum and the maximum can be the same.
Yeah.
So it just depends on,
Right. And again, it should come as no surprise that 60 is a little much for my taste, and certainly even the 6 stories. I mean, we refer to this building as a 4-story building, and for my taste, for the downtown core, that would be, you know, because it's measured from these stations. Let's make it, yeah, I would say let's make it all 4 across the board.
okay,
Well, at least the most intense category, we make it 31. In subzone 2, the quarter-mile radius would be 15 to 31, and subzone 3 would be 15 to 31, and 4 stories across the the board.
And so, for instance, in subzone 1, where within a quarter-mile radius,
It'd be 15 to 31.
I just need one number for the maximum.
31.
Yeah, 31, okay. So do you want to keep the, what do you want for the half mile and beyond a half mile?
Well, I think in subzone 1, the 20 and the 10 are fine. I think in subzone 2, I'd like it to see, reflective of what we've got in subzone 1.
I think what he needs is just one number for each quarter, half, and beyond radius, and they're recommending that we pick a number between 15 and 31,
So
for
if
example.
we're going to do 15 to 30 in subzone 1,
It would be-
15 to 31, 10 to 20, and 6 to 10, let's be consistent in all of the subzones at those numbers.
Right, but it would just be 31, 20, and 10 as the maximums. Those would be
Correct.
the three numbers for subzone 1, 2, and 3. And 4,
31, 20, and 10,
correct.
all the way down.
All the way down.
And then so for subzone 4, 31
And
again.
of course, implicit in that is our other code provisions we've adopted that mandate minimum unit sizes that may not allow builders to get to the maximum FAR, which we'll deal with that.
And then for subzone 4,
31.
31,
What I don't have clear to me right now is what is in the subzones, but I trust that you know that, Mayor?
Well,
there are corresponding maps that go,
Like, but
the
from,
visual-
like
I know
right
it's-
now, I can't recall what
It's
it
a-
is, so I'm just going to
they're in here, they're further in the packet.
Yeah. Going back a few pages, there are the color maps.
Yeah, and even with the maps, it's just being able to kind of get a really good idea is what's in, what is around in those areas.
Well, you just think about a half a mile or a mile on either side of the
Right, so exactly.
the
So
busway.
just using that as kind of my
Right, your
leader
guide.
in my guide, I'm good with these changes that we're making.
I
And
think
don't
we're
forget the
safe at
4.
4 stories.
I'm sorry?
I think we're safe at 4 stories
Yeah,
in
that
in
too.
all of those distances.
So don't forget to change subzone 2 maximum height to 4.
Yes, I got that.
Thank
So
you,
I
Jennifer. Yeah.
have the proposed changes to the list, 31, 20, 10, and the change to 4 stories as well. So that everything's 4 stories.
Yeah. However, in further thinking through this, when you get into subzone 3, I don't know that 4 stories is really appropriate. You're going much further out and to the north of downtown. Yeah, so if we could, let's back that down to 3. For 3 and 4, let's back that down to 3 stories
Okay,
for subzones 3 and 4.
got it.
Because those are going further away from, just in our case, downtown.
Yeah, and that
Yeah,
also
right.
follows kind of our idea that we do
Kind of the,
a
yeah,
tiered effect. Yeah, I agree.
exactly, so,
So just for my chart here, what was that, subzone 2? And no, 3 and 4 you said?
Right, 3, so 3 and 4, so subzone 1 is all 4 stories, subzone 2 is all 4 stories, subzone 3 would
Is
be 3
3
stories, and
stories.
subzone 4 would be 3 stories.
yeah. So, Mr. Roth, amend your motion accordingly? Did we have a second? Okay, and we have a second. Any further? Is anyone online or in the audience wishing to address this? All right, we'll close the public hearing and have a roll call on the RTD ordinance.
Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilman Davis? Councilman Ross? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Cannavale? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
All right, very good. We got through that. We might as well go ahead and have a motion to extend to, will 8:45 do it? All right, so we have a motion to extend the meeting from 8:30 to 8:45. Moved and seconded, all in favor? All right. Moving on to tab number 22, we'll give Mr. White a break and move on to Mr. Pearl.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Tab 22 is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 28 Utilities, Article 8 Electricity, Division 4 Electric Distribution System by amending Section 28-292 Application Fee, Section 28-294 Fees for Processing the Application, Section 28-296 Construction Generally, Section 28-298 Installation should be made by the city, creating new Section 28-300 Responsibility for the cost of distribution system components, amending existing Section 28-300 Responsibility for cost of work performed by private company, deleting Section 28-301 Responsibility for the cost exceeding estimate refunds, and amending Section 28-320 Electric Line Extension Policy and Procedure to revise how the cost of an extension of the city electric distribution system are apportioned, providing for conflict, severability, codification, and an effective date.
That's the second reading. Unless there's any objection from council, we can waive the staff report. Waive the staff report. Do we have a motion to approve tab 22? Moved by Councilman Ross, second by Councilman Cannibal. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this matter? None appearing. I'll close the public hearing and ask for a roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Ross? Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Councilman Davis? Councilman Cannibal? Councilwoman Bailey? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And moving on to tab 23, it's a resolution, car number 4283, settlement of all claims by Alan Murgas and Nancy Areli Perez Coronado. Mr. Pearl.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Tab 23 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving the settlements of all claims made by Alan Murgas and Nancy Areli Perez Coronado, providing for implementation and providing for an effective date.
Waive the staff report. Do we have a motion? Moved by Councilman Ross, second by Councilwoman Bailey. Any public comment? We'll close the public hearing. Let's have a roll call vote on tab 23.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Cannibal? Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilman Davis? Councilwoman Avila? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And tab 24, which is car number 4285, the settlement of claims by LATRAVION BOWENS. Mr. Pearl.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Tab 24 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving the settlements of all claims by LATRAVION BOWENS, providing for implementation and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. We'll waive that staff report as well. Do we have a motion to approve? Moved by Councilman Cannibal, seconded by Councilman Roth. Is there any public comment? Close the public hearing and have a roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Roth? Yes. Councilwoman Avila? Yes. Councilman Davis? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Cannibal? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And now, Mr. Manager, any further business?
Yes, we received a recent request from Vice Chair of the DADE delegation, Kevin Chambliss, asking for council to indicate their availability for the delegation to work with the City of Homestead to host jointly a South Dade legislative update. So with your permission, we'll work with staff to find your convenient dates so that we can work with them to schedule this meeting.
Just a legislative update, I guess.
Yes.
From our DADE delegation. Any objection? What, would it be a standalone or is it a council presentation?
It's going to be the delegation presentation to us, and also back and forth, because council had passed some legislation in the past asking for us to liaise with the state delegation, such as the blasting ordinance. So these are some of the things we want them to consider when they come around.
Okay, very good. So we'll find a date and make it happen.
If we can make it a part of a presentation at a council meeting, that'll
Sure.
be ideal. Thank you.
Yeah. An early presentation with no others on a given night.
So tomorrow is the governing board of the TPO meeting in downtown Miami. So I know council had indicated interest to participate. The mayor will be there. The meeting starts at 2 p.m. at the main office of the TPO.
And this will be with respect to the re-inclusion of the interchange, the Turnpike
Yes, that's
interchange
correct.
into the construction plans. Our local preference projects will be on the September agenda since the TPO does not meet in August.
In August.
How long is that meeting typically last?
Well, typically not long, and as I said, the reasonable opportunity to be heard is held at the beginning of the agenda. That's it. The public doesn't get to weigh in anymore unless you just want to hang around to see how the vote goes. But it's a relatively short agenda for tomorrow. The ride is the adventure. Getting there is the adventure.
So one last item, ethics training. We extended an invitation to Miami-Dade County Office of Ethics to conduct a citywide ethics training for staff. It's free, and it's tomorrow at 9 o'clock, in case anyone wants to participate. Okay.
Mr. Attorney. Very good, thank you. Councilwoman Avila.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to extend my sincere thanks and gratitude to Mayor and staff and Mayor and Council and staff who attended the Kiwanis and Military Affairs Council fishing tournament this month. It was a success, both at the Captain's Party held at the Homestead Miami Speedway, as well as the actual tournament itself at Bayfront Park. Thank you very much for your support. It's the one and only fundraiser for the Kiwanis of Homestead Foundation and all of their programs. I also wanted to thank staff for working on the July book drive that we will be having citywide at Homestead Pavilion, or the Harrisfield Pavilion. So that'll be July 27th. So any new or gently used children's books will be welcomed. And it'll be a drive-through 9:30 to 12 o'clock, more or less. And congratulations to the excellent placements, Cairo, Adrian, and Mina. Welcome to the team. And thank you to HPD for doing a fantastic job in catching those bad guys out there. During the summertime, we get a little bit more activity than we'd like. Well, we never like any criminal activity, but the summertime gets a little bit more active with the kids and the youth getting really bored. So thank you for doing what you do. And I'll rest there. Oh, and how can I forget? Happy anniversary to my husband. 12 years. Thank you.
Oh, good, happy anniversary. Congratulations. Made it, yeah. Councilwoman Bailey.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Alpha Florimond, who we had earlier tonight with one of the presentations of 3 virtues, he is hosting, along with myself and Commissioner McGee, a family night out this Saturday at Losner Park. Lots of fun stuff for the whole family. You can find more details on our social media. And I wanted to share one quick, very exciting email that I received not too long ago. So Starbucks has this community outreach initiative that they do countrywide. And this is the first Florida official. It's called All-in-One. So we're happy to host Florida's first official All-in-One in Homestead. So it is an initiative that they help areas that need additional help to be able to put different contacts together, offer different resources. So I thought this would be a wonderful first initiative for the CRB board. So I have put them in contact to make sure that we can continue these efforts and do a yearly summer resource event at Michael Williams. So you will be receiving more details obviously on that soon, but in the meantime, if you have any organizations or if any of our local philanthropic organizations would like to be part of it, please feel free to reach out so I can put you in contact with them. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Cannonball, anything further? Thank you. Councilman Roth. Oh, Davis.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to take this opportunity. We did a lot of talk about Love Has No Limits and the event that we did, Good Neighbor Day, but it would not have been possible without all the work from the city.
I was out there about 7:45 maybe. Tents were set up, garbage cans are out, cones were set up for traffic flow. Everything was set up and ready to go, just waiting for volunteers to come and fall into place and do, what they were going to do. What, an hour later, 90 minutes later, here comes Homestead Police, getting their arms around traffic control and just making a presence known at the event. And I would say it was a great representation because they all did more than they needed to do. I mean, they could have just, done the minimums, but no, they jumped in there because we're helping our own community, and our Homestead workers jumped in to help our community as well. It was a great thing to see of our workers, a great reflection on the leadership of our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Appreciate that. Councilman Rowe.
Just one. Can we find out who's responsible for the maintenance of Flagler Avenue from Chrome north to 11th Street? And if it's us, let's get it scheduled. And if it's not, let's put pressure on the county to do it. It has been neglected for many, many, many years. With the improvements right here at the busway, I was hoping they would at least clean up that little bit of area, and they did not touch that area. So can we look into that and find out who's responsible for that, please? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Vice Mayor, are you with us?
Yes, and I'll just keep it brief. Sorry I'm not there this evening. A little under the weather, but plan to be in and around the city all week. Just a quick update. There's some things going out there in regards to our race schedule for 2025. Although it hasn't officially been announced, we will be getting a race in March of next year rather than the October playoff race. I think it's important for everybody to understand it's still a great economic impact to the city. However, we still need to put our best foot forward and work towards gathering momentum for the championship race in 2026 or 2027. Had a great meeting with the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau in regards to their assistance along with the Florida Sports Foundation, and we'll be meeting again next week to work on what those opportunities are going to be for both the GMCVB as well as Miami-Dade County and Florida Sports Foundation. So just a quick update there. I'll hold and yield the rest of my time to you, Mr. Mayor. Everybody have a great night and hope to see you later this week.
Thank you, sir. Hope to see you in a few days. All right. First, I have a couple of appointments to ratify. First, to the Community Relations Board, Koliat Mintz, and to the Southwest Advisory Committee, Glardia Flaramond. Any objections? So, Clerk or whoever's charged with that, if we could let them know officially that they have been named to those committees. And I too wanted to touch on, it was brought to my attention this afternoon that social media was abuzz, that Homestead lost its race for 2025. And, I know what the Vice Mayor was saying, just to reiterate. While we're not guaranteed a playoff race in 25, we will have a race at some point in the schedule and fully expect to be in the rotation of the playoffs and the grand finale in 26 or 27. So, the naysayers on social media, it's just not so. Homestead has not been cut out of the race circuit. Finally, I want to touch on, I invite everybody to be sure to come to our Race to the Fourth event. Again, and probably some justified commentary across social media platforms about the lines and the beverages in the last couple of years. I know that our staff has worked very hard and very closely to dramatically increase both the number of food trucks, to expand the footprint of the event, and the track that controls the beverages has greatly expanded the accessibility of water, soft drinks, and not so soft drinks. So those lines should not be an issue this year. I know we've got a really good band coming. We're going to unveil our logo to our 10,000 closest friends that are in the audience that night. And what's that? We should make shirts. Okay. So it really it looks to be just another exponentially growing event. I want to thank the manager and the staff for taking that on. And they already know that on July 5th, we're going to be talking about Christmas again. And they're already talking about Christmas. So if anybody's got any thoughts, please share them with the manager's office. We're already putting together a lot of neat things. So with that, I will even though it's not 8:45 yet, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Thank you all. Good night. Meeting adjourned.